Cured of the clap.
Okay, well that's how the show starts. That's literally just. Do you want to tell that story to start the episode? How old were you?
Just a little bit of a hot mic situation there. I was just obviously joking.
Well, they're all the rage these days. The hot mics, I've heard.
There have been some hot mics.
We have some hot mic fans. Something that I'm not a fan of.
Here we go.
Is the shower system in the US and in the hotels.
So we're tackling the big problems.
Why?
You know what it is? He doesn't like the absence of the handheld.
Yes.
Ah.
How do you wash your ass?
What do you mean? The water's running down my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna fucking throw your phone, Jason.
Is that happening?
Oh yeah, into a wall.
all right.
Should be good over there.
Everyone, calm down.
Else you're going into the wall, my man. So chill.
Is it an iPhone?
You know,
No.
Okay.
but
It's not.
Oh, you're a Pixel 6 man, like me.
like you can't get to certain areas properly without the handle, and that's
what
a
are you
problem.
doing down there?
Bro?
Yeah.
You need like the thing.
Are you washing your insides? Because you only usually wash the
You
outsides.
having a little bit of fun in the
but-
shower yet?
Yeah,
girl?
but like the problem is with how it's like it's up high, Chad.
Yeah.
And it's going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just at that point once it hits your body, it just flows down. That flow
Exactly.
is too slow to clean anything.
But that's why you have, you first of all, you might have a sponge would be one option for something that people could use in the
On
shower,
brand.
right? Maybe you like to use a rag. Maybe you're someone who bathes with a rag. There's people who do
People
that.
do that?
There's
Yeah.
the little tiny washcloths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw that. I was like, why is this little towel in the bathtub? So that's what it's for? That's
Yeah.
what you people are
Well,
disgusting.
I'm not
Well-
using that, but in between my ass.
Yeah. It's not like I'm wiping my ass with a washcloth.
I'm not like taking a shit and using.
Yes. People can see your face, Jason. This is a video episode. Everyone knows that you're lying.
You
And
could use your
and
hand,
with-
Yanko. Just make sure you
Chad
wash your
just
face
changed the
first.
scene.
I just changed the scene.
Oh my God, how'd
The
that
big
feel?
reveal.
I think what we should do is just automate it, right? In the sense
every-
that no, we do. It's just random.
There's got to be AI.
The fucking Adobe AI podcast thing. I tried to sign up for it. I got nothing back. Nothing. I've been blanked.
Okay.
I'm feeling. I pay for Adobe. Like, let me try your AI.
Yeah, hook it up.
We do have to say this is our sort of attempt to
Do things a little bit better.
up the setup.
We said, if we're going to struggle with the basic elements of production, such as audio and such as video desyncing, why not just get a second webcam and just go really
And
hard at the
change
paint and
scenes.
figure it all out at once?
No,
the
so
same time.
here's the thing. I have a really good feeling about this, and I want to apologize to our listeners / viewers.
Don't take all the blame.
Well, I was the one putting it together.
Okay, yeah, take all the blame.
Yeah, it was my fault. Like, now, guys, once I sync the clap and the video, like the visual and the audio clap, I render. I'm not watching 2 hours and 30 minutes
Of a
us
podcast
talking.
you just did, yeah.
I don't give a fuck. At that point, my job is done.
Were we supposed to give any audio cues at the start of this episode?
What for?
No.
No?
That's why
All
we're
right.
talking about Jason being cured of the clap.
Ah, all right.
No, because the audio and the video are being recorded
No, I don't
simultaneously.
mean that.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know. He's looking
What
at
are
the
you
grin.
talking
This
about?
is the Spotify thing.
Oh, yeah, no.
No.
Audio cues.
Yeah, like
Oh, I know what he means. I know what he's talking about now. No, we don't need to do that.
no,
right
we
now.
don't need to do that.
But we can talk about that. I suppose.
In theory.
I guess.
Jason is so confused.
Well, now
you
we've
changed
now we've
the
gone
scene?
down this rabbit
Are
hole.
you-
Now we've gone halfway there.
Are you just tired or are you?
No, I know exactly what's going on. I'm just saying we don't need to talk about it. There's nothing new to announce quite yet.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. But I mean, I think
Now
now the
we-
viewers
now-
can put it
now-
together. I think we've put all the end pieces of the puzzle together, and it should be easy.
Well, we wanna try something out.
Yeah.
And I don't know when we can.
Okay, talk about it, Chad.
Yeah, we're trying to do a Spotify thing. We're
Yeah.
trying to put the video episodes of the show on Spotify exclusively. That's a word that people are scared of. They're really scared of that word. But
We're a partnered podcast.
Yeah. But we don't have any other teams we're competing against.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's a one-man league.
We can't rig anything.
Sure.
Yeah, no, there's not going to be any of that going on. But that would be the goal, to have a bunch of episodes of the video ones like this and the ones we've done with the players, like Nico in the past and Carrigan and stuff.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do one of those player podcasts while we're here.
That's the goal.
But I just want to make this clear. There will still be beer. There's just no beer today
Well-
because people are jet lagged.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt like if we had beer now, I would fall asleep halfway through the episode.
I'd be not too far behind you as well.
So, I think that's like the main reason. For the beers will be back.
Yeah, the beers are. Some people are here
I will
just for
be
the
pouring
beers.
them or bringing them.
The true
or
stars of the
opening
show.
them.
Well, what if we don't have to drink beer? We could do something. We could do a spirit.
Oh yeah, that would go way better.
Well, we could mix it with something.
We could do a shot every time Chad talks about the tournament format.
Formats and seating comes up, take a shot.
Where's my notepad? I've taken some
Ideas for the
notes.
future.
I've taken some notes.
Oh,
but-
where's your notepad? We need to take timestamps.
Everyone's favorite. Fuck no. I saw you in the comments of the last one, like Yanko's back. Here's the timestamp. Look at you feeding the fiends, Yanko. Make him tune in. I don't want these figures where the stat lines are dipping. I want him here for the whole thing. I want him in for the ride.
Yeah.
From second one.
You want to get the gold, you got to sit through the shit.
Listen, I get that. I agree with that. But it's also sometimes when the episode is at 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Yanko. Podcast consumption. I consume, I would say, a lot of podcasts. On a week, I'm listening to maybe 12 episodes of different podcasts, right? Depending on what's coming out, depending on what I'm listening to,
Sure.
and everything's a little bit different. I like to listen to some comedy podcasts, right? I listen to Bad Friends, Two Bears, One Cave. That's with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, The Machine.
Sure.
I like to listen to two Aussie podcasts, Hamish and Andy. Right, they used to be a radio duo, and they do a podcast together. I think they still also do radio. And Matt and Alex, they used to do some fucking breakfast radio in Australia as well.
This is way too many podcasts.
I'm listening. I'm gonna say it.
This is way too
I'm
many
gonna say it.
podcasts.
I listen to Rogan. You know, I hope everybody can accept that. That's one of the things that I do choose to put into my ears. And then there's a couple of other. I like to listen to Chael Sonnen. He used to be a UFC fighter. I like to listen
He's
to him.
underrated. He's the best trash talker
so good.
in the business. It's actually incredible how good his trash talk is.
And like his show that he does, it's just him. It's just him talking, and it's great to listen to. So yeah, I didn't know how we're going down Chad Birchall's podcast library, but I took us there. But we were talking about alcohol, and I got pretty drunk last night for Chad Birchall standards.
Chad was in rare form last night. It was great. He was like what I normally do at Korean barbecue, which is like I drive the never-ending fucking soju train.
Mm-hmm.
Chad took the conductor role.
I was so sad, man. My ass is sitting back in Belgrade, which is my flight got canceled from Belgrade to Frankfurt, so I couldn't make the Frankfurt to Dallas flight, so got pushed back a day. And for everyone back home, everyone arrives on a day, and that point is just travel day. You have no obligations for the tournament.
You're trying not to fall asleep.
Yeah, other than that, when you're traveling intercontinental. So yeah, and they're like, oh, let's go for some KBB Korean barbecue. Get the soju flowing, get the kalbi, get all the good stuff. And I'm like sitting in Belgrade. I'm like, oh,
motherfucker!
I haven't had KBBQ in a hot minute. Chad is in a good mood.
That's rare.
Chad's
That's rare
the one.
itself.
Chad's the one saying like, "Give me the soju." Pour me the soju.
Hey, we'd had like 5 bottles by the end of that dinner, and I was like, "All right, is everyone good?" And Chad just goes, 2 more bottles of soju.
Well, this is the thing as well, Yanko. You know this when we go to Korean barbecue, mate. There's no such thing as too much meat.
Yeah, it's
And
actually so hard to stop eating. It's so good.
But we kept it to a strict bulgogi and whatever the fuck the other one was.
Brisket and the galbi.
That's it. We just kept those two. It's safe. No one's fucking around with chicken. No one's getting seafood.
Someone always
on
goes
it.
for pork belly, which is super underwhelming.
It's like, come on, man. Stick with the good shit. We stuck with the good shit. Is it gochujang?
Gochujang.
Yeah, that one's fucking great.
No, that's the samjang you're talking about.
Yeah.
Gochujang is just the spicy like pepper sauce.
Okay.
Samjang is
Samjang is the nice stuff. Yeah.
That stuff's fucking amazing. We're smashing that.
Yeah.
Soju's coming.
Korean ketchup.
There's beer on the table. Who am I next to? I got Machine on one side. I've got the young veteran Dinko across from me. I'm trying to give him a proper KBBQ esports experience. I want to make sure that
Rushley was there.
Rush was there. You never see Rush.
Almost
Rush.
never. I saw him. We went to that Indian place in Katowice. That's where I had food.
Was that the
Russian
Tali
all the
house or
guys.
the one across from?
Tali house, I think.
Yeah, Tali house, the one in the city.
In the city,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that one's all right. That's not too bad. You weren't in Katowice,
No.
having a fucking baby.
Having a baby.
That's all.
asshole.
It was such a selfish motherfucker.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
How's he done that?
Unreal.
Why?
And then he teamed up with a baby.
Nice,
fair
he's
enough.
taking that young veteran thing.
You guys went
Yeah.
to the news. You guys had some news. You had
Yeah, we
that
were on the
full-on-
HLTV front
right?
page.
That's
A private interview as well.
right?
Yeah, we took care of that in Paris.
Look at this. So
was good.
did you guys have like an agent reach out, or was that something you did on your own? Like,
No,
do you
when
have
when
a-
you're as big and as popular as me, Chad, it's HLTV. It's the outlet that comes
They're
to
coming to
you.
you.
It's them, and they're like,
Bloody
"Hey, we heard this is
hell.
happening. What do you think if we do like an interview while we're here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I can provide that service."
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yanko, you doing any interviews with HLTV or?
Maybe in the near future, Chad.
Yeah.
Things are in the works.
Oh yeah.
Something's cooking. The announcement of an announcement.
So I have a question.
Here
Have
we
you
go.
guys ever? When I left Paris, I did the classic. Went out at the after party, pretty hard, pretty late. Got
At
back
the boat.
we didn't stay at the boat. We went across the street.
You were basically at the boat.
Yeah,
Mate,
we were
it
at
was-
the boat, not on the boat.
You
The
could've-
boat was a mess.
You could have rolled from where you were onto the boat in less than a minute.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
That roll would have taken. You would have been there.
I got there and I tried to order a drink, like a Jack and Coke or something, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have that." And I was like, "Okay, what do you have?" They're like, "Beer, white wine, and rosé." And
Safe?
I was like, "Oh,
Beer.
I'll be leaving."
Wait, this was the boat.
That was on the boat, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we
you
went
to
across the
bar.
street and Trance hooked it up. Trance did a classic Trance move, and he bought a bunch of bottles for
That's nice of
for everyone.
Trance.
But no, when I left Paris, I was on like 1 hour, less than an hour of like drunken sleep
Not
before I
worth it,
woke
man.
up, packed. I know it's really not. I don't do this often anymore. That was an old
Hey,
thing.
you're a dad now.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. And I go to Paris. I go through all the stuff at CDG, border control, passport control, security check. Get to my gate, board the flight. I'm in my seat, and I do the magical thing where you fall asleep before like the plane even
That's
leaves the
really
gate.
nice.
And I'm about 20 minutes into that sleep. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up to just screaming, "Is there a doctor on the plane?
No.
Is there a medical professional on the plane?" And I'm just in like that daze. I was like, I could have been out for 8 hours. I was just done. Noise canceling headphones on, and I was just so confused. And it's the guy like 2 seats down from me is like straight up just having a seizure.
Oh.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Not fun.
So we had just pulling away from the gate when that happens, and then
So you're taxiing to the runway at this point.
Yep, we're on the way.
You're almost at the point of no
I know.
return.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's very fortunate that it happens here. But then what happens is medical professionals come, do their thing. I don't know what to phrase it. Stops having a seizure. He's fine. He's
Okay.
he's alert. He's back in the room. And the little like tow truck that's attached to the front of the plane like tried to like push us back to the gate, which was, I don't know, not very far. Again, like we'd moved like 10 seconds maybe not very far.
You rolled to the boat.
It breaks.
No.
It snaps. The pin on the front wheel of the airplane that is like hooked up to the little tow truck snaps and tore into the wheel.
No.
Flattened the wheel. So we're stuck on the runway, wide awake, obviously, because I've just been woken up by a medical emergency.
Mate's recovering from a seizure.
He's recovering from a seizure, has another one in the meantime. They had to bring paramedics out to the runway because the plane can't move to get him off. We're now just sat on this airplane for like hour and a half to 2 hours.
And you've only slept for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
at this point.
I'm done. I'm toast. I'm fried. And then they can't push us back to the gate, so they set up like little cones. We have to actually walk on the runway back to the airport.
Jason.
Deboarding the plane. Now 3 hours delayed.
It's all gone wrong.
And then we get shuttled back through border control, passport stamped, back to the front desk where I checked in 3.5 hours prior, or 4 hours prior, and had to get booked on a new flight and then go back through security and back through passport control. All happening at CDG. And oh my God, I was dying.
Did you have fun at the party though?
Not
Was
enough.
it worth it?
Not enough.
Oh no.
It was a rough one, boys.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that was a travel day.
Oh.
I logged some hours that day.
A lot of people were having a bad time. A lot of people have bad times all the time. But as I was walking to come to the party, so I was a late arrival. They had already known the boat was shit, so I was coming full well knowing that the vibe was not at an all-time high. Still came, and on the way, as I was walking down by the water, there was two or three ambulances, or maybe like 2 ambulances. One was police. And this is like along the side of the river on one side and like a road on the other, and then people have a footpath in between. So it's in eye shot, right? Essentially of the road and everything. So they put up this like this barricade so people can't see what's going on. But as you walk around the end where I got to, you could see that there was someone lying there, and they were doing surgery on like a person in the middle of like, we were talking maybe midnight.
Surgery.
100%. And like, it was fucked.
Cutting
like,
a trachea or something like that.
I couldn't see like but this person was on their back, and there was people in full on like gowns and shit and everything. And there's a bunch of ambulances and everything like that. And I was like, well, I have no idea what the fuck just went down. And then, honestly, 50 meters up the road, you guys were partying.
Had no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was, and I walked around up to the next few
How does it
steps.
make you feel, Jason?
Yeah, that's 2 near-death experiences within like 12 hours that I had in Paris.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what happened to said individual, but yeah, well, we went grim with this one, didn't we? Yanko,
No.
any grim news?
Bring us out of the hole.
You want to share with the group?
With the dream that I had?
No. Oh, man.
No, but I don't know. Those after parties, man, there's so many ones that were so dog shit.
I think the thing is,
But one of the better ones
I hope it
was
a
in
Twitch
Dallas, actually.
Oh, shit.
Remember in
Have we told
2019?
this story?
Which one?
In 2019.
It was when it was DreamHack Masters.
That's not the one where...
That's where Yanko was coaching.
Yes.
What happened at that after
What
party?
happened there?
It was at this place which was, it's like a bunch of bars are in there, a bunch of different bars. So they rented out one which had
Like a hall.
arcades and ping pong
I
and
think I do
beer
remember
pong.
that.
And
That's
was
right.
where you
That's
and
where
me and Jason fleeced everyone in beer pong.
Oh, shit.
I
Because
think we made like the 4,000 each off the Brazilians. or something.
we did like this thing unintentionally, by the way, where we teamed up to play beer pong. We lost the first one we played for like $50 or $100.
You were sandbagging.
So then,
Not intentionally.
not
We actually did
intentionally.
legitimately
We actually
lose
did
that game.
So then we're like, okay, let's do double or nothing, and we owned I don't know who. Whether it was
Dead
no,
and Zeus.
It
were
wasn't
there?
them first. First I think it was Get Right and someone else.
Yep.
And then the Brazilians saw
Mick was there. We beat Mick.
Brazilians saw some action, and they were like, obviously,
They
very
wanted to get in on it.
competitive.
Yeah,
They wanted
yeah.
to get in on it. So then it's like, $100. They were like double or nothing. All of a sudden, we're playing against Mick and Get Right for $500 a game of beer pong. We won like 10 beer pong games in a row.
Did people pay
Unstoppable.
up?
No,
No.
what we did was
Shame
Mick-
them for the rest of their lives, really.
No, Mick.
Mick paid.
Mick paid, but we said like
I think we did it to Movember or something, didn't we? Or
November.
do like
Yeah,
a-
we did like donated it to charity.
Okay.
We didn't take the cash ourselves, but
I would have
that-
taken it from the Brazilians.
yeah. Well, I think they did take us out a couple tournaments later or something.
Yeah, they've treated
I'm-
us well over the years.
Yeah, I'm
We've
sure we don't. I'm sure they don't owe us any money. But like that one was fun. I think most of the fun ones were when you had something like that where you could do some activities, whatever. The problem is with some of the big ones, Cologne, like how they give like for premium ticket holders, they give them also access to this.
Public access is
to this party,
tends to
which is
cause
like-
a few issues.
None of us have anything against fans, but it's like at the end of the event where you're trying to sort of
Yeah, I think there's
Like
it's different times for things. So, for example, when we just did HLTV Confirm Live in Paris, it's very accessible, like to talk to anybody who's going to be there, right? So
Yeah.
for players there, or we had like Freya and Launders were there, and when it finished, I just hung around until no one was there anymore, just to chat to people, right? And that's a good time and a place for, it's
Absolutely.
it was in a good environment. Everyone could sit and chat, but at like a party, once it's the end of the event, I think that's a little bit
especially
different.
a long event like that. You want to decompress,
Sure,
just
yeah.
not really have to.
But that's why
Think about
we had a period where our parties became the parties, right? Like when
Yeah.
we would just hang
Yeah.
out, like
playing
that.
Fibbage.
Yeah, we would just
Find a
fuck-
bar,
yeah,
hotel bar.
exactly.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you the blueprint for the best after party you can make. Okay, if you're a
Okay.
tournament
Needs to be
organizer.
table tennis.
Not necessarily.
All right, no table tennis.
You should have an
flexible. You can turn it
area
into
or
beer pong.
something where you have some things like that.
All right, so maybe
Right,
like
some arcades,
cornhole.
some like also those like baskets.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
you can own
yeah,
people. Me personally, only for me. So you need premium drinks. Okay,
What's considered a premium drink?
it means not Smirnoff vodka but Grey Goose vodka. It means
see,
no
for me,
Jim
none of
Beam,
this means anything.
but something else,
Okay.
right? And you have that, and you don't run out of that. You don't just come up with some like shit cocktail and you call it Rush B, and it's like whatever.
Come on now, Yanko.
Right?
We love
No, we love the
I'm a
name,
sucker for
but,
a
but
Counter-Strike
it
cocktail.
can actually be like good alcohol.
Sure.
Like, but here, you do that. You invite the players.
What about
were,
Jameson,
I guess
Yanko? Is that a
Jameson? I like Jameson.
yeah?
Yeah.
Jameson Irish. Yeah, I like it.
They made overpass old fashions at
Yeah, that's what
in Paris.
Overpass. Valentine's. That's a bit harder to get down.
I
but
don't know what I was drinking, but it was nice.
Well, I
The
like
flashbang
Jason will
fizz.
Flashbang fizz.
Jason will
Absolute.
testify to this. When I want to do a shot of whiskey, it's always Jameson.
Okay.
So it's like a shot of Jameson. Yeah, so that it's like the drinks. You invite the talent, the players, some of your like like people from
Partners, yeah.
business partners,
Sure.
whatever. And that's pretty much it. I was going to say
Just get some nice booze and all the other people that are normally there.
No, people
cut out the fans.
No, but I was like,
What's the music?
What-
How loud's the music?
one of the problems is it ends up being a sausage party sometimes, and the players bitch about that, so that's why they don't show up. So
Sure.
figure that
Well,
part
it is,
out,
but that's the thing. It's
and
that's
that's
what I'm
it.
saying. It's
And
different for everybody.
don't have like ridiculously loud EDM music, right?
Okay.
Have a
Or just EDM
do a
music in
DJ
general.
and just have like probably
Something we can
a
sing
close
to,
area
Yeah.
where it's like
Give me
there's
some
this,
80s.
there's this loungy area where it's quieter music and you can go there and have a drink and talk to people, and you have the like sort of dance floor loud area where you
But
can
then
let loose a
we
little
need people
bit.
from the public. Otherwise, it will just be
The after party in Dallas last year. See, what you really need to do is TOs need to stop running the after party. You sell them like Bernardo Ricard at Paris was like, why aren't we running the after party? Because they're liquor brands.
Yeah.
It would make complete sense. And last year when we
They
were
know
here,
how to do this.
Monster threw an after party.
Was Monster?
Yeah, because they had like one of they're
Oh,
like the
Dingo
parent
said
company
something
to
good
like a
about-
brewery
yeah, okay.
that's local to Dallas.
but
or
they
like
only
a
had
beverage
beer.
distribution.
What's wrong with beer, man?
It's nothing wrong, but it's like since I want to let loose, let me have a shot with this. The problem was like this thing. The brewery itself only had beer. It's not
Okay.
like they only served beer out of.
It's not like the boat
Yeah, it's not like the
where they
boat.
choose to only have beer.
Yeah, well,
You
it's
just
a
had a
boat.
brewery.
and they had the
so-
Jello like frozen like.
Those are gross jello shots. Yeah.
I'm really disappointed I wasn't invited on the Vitality boat, Yanko. No invitation.
Well, you were talking shit about Apex. I think that's why.
What?
Oh no, that was Nell.
Come
I think he
on,
specifically said on the stage. Didn't he say, people were talking shit. Fuck you, Sponge."
That sounds familiar to me.
man. I hope not, man. That's so sad. Oh,
Oh, you have to walk over there, Jason.
it's a sensor light. Is it?
Yeah.
We don't have to. It's fine. It hasn't really. The camera's still.
No, we
we're
want
slightly more-
continuity of lighting.
Well, people are getting to live in the moment with us, then I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. There were so many wild. Just
But
walking.
that's gonna happen like every 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, well, next time I'll get up.
Okay.
I might
We'll
even go and
take
have
turns.
piss.
We'll take turns. Oh, that's true. Yeah, fair enough. The Vitality boat. Anyway, where were you going with this?
No, I was like, there were some wild ones over the years.
Boats.
After parties.
I remember.
It's so exciting at first. Like when you first start going to events, it's like just the free drinks of any kind are great. But as time goes on, you're like,
Remember, we came up in the era of like the Twitch after party.
They
though.
were always the
That
best
was a
after
different
parties.
beast, yeah.
the Chicago one was good.
You noticed that there was a significant drop off in the after party experience when when Amazon scaled that back.
they
Also,
cut some
Which I
costs.
can't even blame them for.
no,
to be
also
honest
it
with
was hilarious. Those early after parties, like literally roster shuffles were happening at those after parties.
you. Yeah.
Like players would get fucked up and then just go to, bro, we have to play together. Actually, that's how FaZe made half of its.
And look with them now, you know. So it all,
Look at 'em now.
it all worked out in the end.
I was kidding, by the way.
Yeah,
To make that
Nice,
perfectly
you
clear.
stuck
no,
that
but
landing.
the French used to. The French we would see all the time.
Yeah.
right?
Bro,
That
the
was very
French
common.
would come like drunk to not drunk, but like the experience Jason had prior to his flight, that was like envious prior to their first game in 2016.
Pro League Season 1, I was out drinking with them till 4 in the morning. They had like the first game at like 10 a.m.
Bloody hell.
Because
That's
they're
great.
playing I don't know who, and they're like,
Cloud9, ironically.
yeah, who were in the final in the end?
Well, yeah, and that's where we got veggie wrap from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how it
everyone
came to
loves a
be.
bit of veggie
You
wrap.
know how they say about like Jordan or whoever? They say, yeah, he played against like plumbers at the time.
Hey, man.
Here they played against drunks.
Bloody hell.
Nailed it.
Bloody hell.
He's killing himself.
Aren't they
and that's
usually
good
the
news.
same, like players and drunks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have said plumbers. I fucked it up.
Yeah, you should have said plumbers.
Players of plumbers.
We're very jet lagged.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. These two are very jet
Yeah,
lagged.
you didn't come from that
Change
far
the
away.
scene again.
No.
Do it again.
What? Oh, change the scene again? Yeah, okay.
Bang.
I'm still playing with this. I'm still learning this feature. This is going to be so horrible. None of this is going to work. People are going to complain about everything. It's all going to be fucked.
Guys, listeners, we're all, and viewers, we're all on this ride together. We're all figuring this podcast thing out as one big happy. Like, so when you guys criticize us, it's all out of love. I know.
We're like 5, 6, 7 episodes from like a full year of doing this thing.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm pretty proud of us being able to do it. Also,
Even before we get to the full year,
Oh.
he's already
but
I'm
celebrating.
close enough. I'm calling it. I'm rounding up to a year.
No, but it's like we probably could have improved stuff.
What's the
sooner.
rush, man? What's the rush?
Yeah.
Right, we're putting out. We're putting out. Not always. Here's the thing. I didn't ever wanted this to be video. That's why when we do from home, it's still going to be audio only. We're only ever going to do in-person episodes as the video.
No
episodes.
webcams.
I can't do the boxes.
Webcams
man.
suck, yeah.
The boxes fucking. It's just. And also, what's the point? Like, I think this is one of the things. I'm out of my mental dead spot at the moment, which is good. It took me a while to dig myself out of that after Pro League. I think I just used all my juice. But Yanko, I know you weren't at the major, so this seems like I'm not rubbing salt in the wound, but I was very social.
I have thick skin.
I was very social at the major.
I'm happy to hear that, Chad.
And I was
social.
playing table tennis with Harry until 2:00 in the fucking morning.
He'll still lose to the SSD.
Yeah, he's been putting in a lot of practice. We started playing Olympic rules.
Serves
so
are
you can't
cross
serve
corners.
from the hand.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch. There was a bunch of changes that came in, but that wasn't the only time I was. So I was just doing a bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that now that we're at these events again, like I look at the events we get to go to in a year, like Rio, Cologne, like and it's in good times of the year. That's pretty cool. Like we get to do some good stuff in good times of the year, but it means we get to hang out like this. And I don't know where I'm going with any of this, but you guys are my friends, so it's really cool
Oh,
to be able to. Well, sorry. I don't know
You're not
if
my
I
friend. You're my brother, my friend.
There you go. Thanks, Pasha. He made it. Yeah. you didn't ride to
He made it
fucking
here?
Paris, Yanko. Why weren't you on a bike?
I'm too fat.
He's got a biker. You got a biker's body.
Yeah, except for the gut.
Sure. Well, yeah. Aside from
I have a biker's body, like a motorcycle, like a son of anarchy.
Maybe a few of them here in Dallas. Jason, you used to live in Texas, right?
yeah, Richardson and Plano, little suburbs outside Dallas.
Was it all right?
With Potter.
Yeah, I lived with Potter up in Richardson.
They're winning.
I know they're
Each
doing
year
good.
winning something.
She brought Ethan in.
Wow. Yeah,
That's a roster change and a half.
She should like record herself about that guy who just randomly criticized her. That journalist just picked out to criticize on her, like to dump on her, and she just say, "How does milk taste?" now?
Or just carbon copy the Apex line. A lot of people are doubting my coaching for over a year now, and I just have to say, "Fuck you."
yeah, that's not a bad line.
That's a good line.
Yeah, well, why not? We can take inspiration from one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the easiest run in major history?
Yeah. I don't know. I did a lot of thinking this last week because
You had time.
I took some time, which was nice. It was nice to take some time. And I wanted to think about a few things because everybody's always complaining. And that's the one thing that I realize is that there's a lot of like complaining all the time, which is fine. There can be complaining. It's part of what we do. There's critiquing going on. But some of it I think is like misplaced or mistimed sometimes. Because I think like conversations can be had, but maybe a little bit more tactfully or after things have had a chance to like mature or develop or whatever. So it was nice to not talk about everything immediately is what I thought. I got to think about it because I think that maybe my opinion would have been different if I started talking about it out the gates. But there's a lot of stuff. There's like the big picture stuff, like the fucking major circuit and how it all comes together and the format and the seating and everything
Spoiler,
like
it
that.
doesn't.
Shot. Cheers.
I didn't get into that. I was just grazing all
go on.
over it.
We just wanted an excuse.
That's one part of it. That's one part of the conversation,
Sure.
right? And that part of the conversation, people feel like that has effect on the results of the tournament. So then that obviously needs to be factored into how we talk about the results of the event. And I don't know. There's also this underdog thing that's a big conversation point. But
Chad, you've watched the games intently, especially the ones you casted.
yeah.
Did these teams, in your opinion, bring something new in their games and that brought them success? Or were they just playing the meta but doing it more efficiently? Because I had people replied to me and say, hey, this is just like Luminosity in like 2015 or 16, like they're changing the game and all that shit, which I think is bullshit.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't think they're changing necessarily the minutia of the game in the same way, but I think that there's something's happened over over the pandemic period. Actually, probably 2019 was when we would have started, but from 2019 up until now, and then we found ourselves in a bubble, right? And I don't just mean like because of the pandemic, but I mean like a bubble that we created that we didn't realize that we were in. And I'm not talking about a financial one. I'm talking about one where we were much more
insulated
focused.
Bubble.
Yeah, we were much more focused on one subsection of teams. And for the majority of that time, up until recently, that was always true. It didn't feel like there were too many other teams that could compete from outside of that, and the ones that did rose to the top, a la Cloud9 or Gambit, right?
Yeah.
But throughout all of that, we had our blinders on as an overall community. There's obviously some people who are much more involved in different scenes and whatnot, but because these opportunities, I don't think there were as many opportunities, right? There wasn't. What's up, Yanko?
Shit, get us out
Just
already.
keep going.
Well,
Finish your point.
so the overall point here is in what we created, I think that there was a certain way of playing the game that all of those top teams had agreed to play without they didn't actually agree, but they all were playing that version of Counter-Strike, right? Whereas when we have more of these, you can't even call them tier 2 teams anymore, right? These teams that don't have as many opportunities to compete on the circuit come in, and they obviously are playing a lot. We can see the sheer quantity of matches that they're playing, even though it is just online CS. They come in and they really shake up that way that the game was being approached. Just like everybody can study and watch the way that they play the game, and these guys have come in. And here's the thing about it. There's normally bigger curves from when you like start playing at that level of Counter-Strike from a player that hasn't had those experiences. And I'm talking about feeling comfortable on LAN, right? Like we all know it, that when we started playing, there was different points. You weren't just like a god immediately on LAN. Right, so it takes a while to acclimatize
Angles
into
change.
things. Yeah, but some of these guys, like they came in and they played really good Counter-Strike for people that we don't like fucking know, to be honest. Like Boros, like let's be honest, we know that we've seen this kid around for some time, Endpoint, etc. But then for him to come and be able to have an output the way he did against where this pedestal has put all these other teams, right? Because what's happened in our insulated bubble is we put the teams that we think are good because, well, they
We've
are
seen
the
them.
best teams,
Yeah.
right? And they are the best players. They've put their pedestal felt a lot higher than the competition that could reach. But then they've come in, they've understood the way the game's played, they've played confident Counter-Strike. And I think a part of their confidence is also their ignorance because they haven't done it before, which meant they got to be ignorant, right? And there was a whole air of that where people just played. It's so
Well,
cliche,
and
but they were just playing their CS.
When you get into the quarterfinals too, you get that whole thing of like, oh, we've already accomplished everything. Like
Yes.
we've done it. Like
Playing with house money.
yeah, we get it.
I
Whatever
feel you
happens
have that
after
with a
here.
lot of teams.
Yeah.
So it's not just that one storyline we have with one name like it would be. It was with a bunch of names, and it created this really odd atmosphere. It was strange. I don't really know. It's the biggest. Like it's not just one or two teams. Like it was a plethora of teams.
It's a shame to see you, Chad, as well, fall into the trap of saying just because of their results and for the sake of it that maybe we've overestimated, teams like G2, Navi.
No, I just
FaZe
think we
and
put
so
them on a
and-
higher pedestal.
and that teams like Apex, Into the Breach, Monty might be at the same level as them. They are not. They are not.
Well, I think results in an event speak for themselves.
You need to. The format of the tournament also speaks for itself.
But that in isolation,
the biggest upset.
everybody
What's the biggest upset of the major match?
Into the breach phase.
I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know. I
Wrong.
didn't.
Incorrect.
I didn't rank them.
Are you talking about significance of the match or like?
The biggest upset of the major was Gamer Legion beating Heroic in the semifinal. Considering the importance of the game, the stage of where it was
circumstances.
played,
Yeah.
the circumstances, everything, that's the biggest upset of the major is that one game. Apex Liquid isn't it because Liquid wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah.
FaZe Into the Breach isn't it because it's a best of one. G2 Fnatic isn't it because, Fnatic, you probably rate them a little bit more
Sure.
up. And yeah, some of the other games were also
No, I'm with you. I agree with
best
you. Yeah.
best of ones and whatnot, right? other than that, into the bridge beat phase in a best of one, and that's it. So these teams didn't like beat directly the tier 1 teams and got to the stages where they are. The tier 1 teams played each other
and
most of the time,
knocked some of each other out,
and knocked some of each other out, or put them into like difficult spots. And that's why some of these other teams went up. You have a quarterfinal Monty versus Gamer Legion, right?
But it's a combination of both factors.
I'll say this. They played good CS at the tournament. You can only play the teams that are in front of you. Gamer Legion is the best out of all of those underdog teams.
Okay.
And we'll now have to see in the following tournaments what happens. Apex already qualified. They won the Challenger, so they will
Monty's
be in
already
Pro League.
in next Pro League season.
They will be 100%, I think, Apex in the play-in for Cologne. Gamer Legion probably in the main event. So we'll be seeing these teams in the near future at tournaments where there's either no best of ones or maybe just a single one in the play-in in the opening game for Cologne. So we'll see them prove whether they are actually that good by doing it in more tournaments.
They have a good period of time to be in that position because of the whole CS2 conversation right now. That actually helps these teams, I think.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think the tournament in itself, the major, was an outlier. I don't think it's a sign for things to come. It will be sad if in the very near future Gamer Legion loses some of its core players,
which traditionally happens,
which to them will probably happen because I don't see how they can keep Shui, an in-game leader that's young and that's a good individual player, as it's worth its weight in gold, and look at Maus now. We were joking around at the time, just like bring this guy over and get it done. Actually, in hindsight, would have been the best call.
Well, also that's kind of interesting too when you talk about, let's see if they can replicate things at the next tournament, because like if Gamer Legion goes to a Cologne in places like top 4, maybe they stay together. If they go to Cologne and get grouped, that's like surely
those decisions will surely be made.
I said this in the last episode too. If they go to the next tournament and bomb out, I'm not saying immediately that they're shit, right? Like I'm giving them more than one tournament to show me what they've got.
Sure.
Right? And I'll tell you this as well. The problem aren't FaZe, G2, Navi, Liquid even to some extent. The problem are teams like Big, Fnatic, EG, MIBR, like these teams that are partnered, that realistically...
So the teams who are close to the top 10...
Exactly. It's not the top 5 teams in the world that are the problem. Like, they will qualify for this tournament. Sure, if you put a best-of-1 open qualifier for every tournament, you won't see one of the top 5 teams make it because it's so cutthroat, right? But majority of the time, these teams will be there regardless. But if you just have 6 invites and 10 qualifier spots, well, then it gets pretty different. And that's the conversation that people want to have, or like the point that people want to make is make it more open. And I'd be all up for that. I'd be up for that, having more open slots. I just don't think it's feasible in the near future because of the contracts that have already been signed and that are in place, but maybe that's something that tournament organizers will look into for when the next round of renegotiation comes in, and they will say, listen, we don't want all, how many teams are there? 12, 10, 14, I don't know.
There's 15 now.
For ESL or Blast?
For Louver?
Louver, yeah. For
I think
Louver.
Louver's
For Blast
14
it's
or
12.
14?
Yeah, so they might say, like, we'll just want 8 teams or 6 teams.
Yeah.
And then they might even make them bid for it. In a sense of not opening, not like that. EG, if they have more money, they can get a slot in front of FaZe. But it's like, we want these 4 or 5 orgs.
Yeah, what are
6,
you offering?
And then we have 2 more slots.
Yeah.
And it's like, and these are the requirements. Like, these are some of the things that you need to make. And 8 slots invited, and then there's 8 more. That's also the thing. Like, you do you use the ranking, or you just make This is the thing that people need to remember.
There'd be no time if we did fucking
exactly.
qualifiers.
If you want to do qualifiers for a lot of the spots and a lot of qualifiers, there's like no room in the calendar. Or those teams have to choose between playing a CCT where they can make money and win games and move up in the rankings, or a qualifier where they might not even make it.
It's not a great choice.
It was like a conversation that we had 6 years ago or 5 years ago.
It's not a great choice, but I was thinking about this situation, and I think that part of me, I really don't like the partnership models that we have, any of them. I would prefer if we just had the whole open scenario, but then obviously people are going to get in the conversation of, yeah, but how do orgs make money and everything like that? And I'll be honest, like, I'm not talking about a tournament organizer. I'm talking about a team. I don't give a fuck how they make money. I don't think they're necessary. And that might be a controversial thing to say. Big brands. I don't think we fucking need them. What do we need them for?
Sponsors.
Why do we need sponsors? If you're a Counter-Strike player who can come top 24, all you need to be is one of the 24 best Counter-Strike teams in the world twice a year, and you're taking home more than $400,000.
Well, here's a conversation.
Why do you need an org?
Here's a topic that we can.
It makes me sick to think about.
Broach is what Richard did a video on. Is what is the model? It's like a sustainable model for esports in the long term. Right? Is it paper? Is it like a way of paying? Because I agree with you. Like it's not sustainable. The salaries for the
salaries are the problem.
The salaries are the salaries are too high.
But I have no sympathy for that. It was the teams who got it.
We just had Ents. The whole story about the
Ents is great. Ents is that really.
Hope's happy and Saw are getting paid though.
I'm glad that we've started to talk about them more in the lesson, try to emphasize like how big of a deal it is, what they're doing, like the amount of success they have comparative to the players that they've had. And that obviously shows itself in the financial statement too. So if you're smart about it, right? Like, and what you said, you think like, now they're going to ask for more money. Is that what you?
No, I just hope they're getting paid. I
think like you get.
But that's the thing that's the point I'm making, right? If Ents is, and I don't know how Natu's split is, but these are people endemic to Counter-Strike and esports, right? They're not getting fleeced by some fucking muppet who's got a suit and a tie and has some bullshit degree that means nothing. These are people who literally grew up doing what we do, and I don't think Natu's the type of guy that would let his players get fucked, right? Like
he's not.
I respect Natu as a person.
The shit out of him,
At the end of the day, if you're not happy with the offer, you don't need to sign.
Exactly. So not only do I think they're getting like a decent amount of money for what you should get paid to play to be a Counter-Strike player, I also think that they probably get a large portion of the sticker money splits, because that's another thing as well, right? Some of these orgs want to take all the sticker money, right? You can have your signature money. I think Valve make sure you get your signature money, right? I think that's part and parcel of that. But in terms of sticker money, also they get a part of the viewer pass, which I only learned recently. I didn't know this. There's also these orgs get part of the viewer pass. This is something that we need to know the information for to decide just personally what makes sense as a model. Because if a team is making the type of money that I'm projecting that they're making in my head, it seems so fucking dumb. It's like, if that money just went to 7 or 8 people, why do you need an organization? And Jason says sponsors, but the sponsor money isn't even a lot of money unless you're one of the top orgs.
No, but I think it's bringing bigger. I mean, bringing bigger brands in as partners and sponsors of these teams orgs is a good thing for the game and good thing for Counter-Strike.
But why
to bring
do we
those
need
more.
it?
I think, obviously, look, it's money to bring into the organization to create cool things like content, to create content around their players, to have a videographer, to have a photographer, to have all the other elements around it.
But the reason why you need them, Chad, is because someone needs to pay the fucking players before they're good enough to make money off of winning tournaments or placing high in tournaments.
We created this situation we're in right now, though. Right, like if tomorrow these orgs all decided we're only going to pay a Counter-Strike player $2,000, right? That's all they said they were going to do, right? And then these players who, as I said, if they get the top 24 twice a year, even just once a year, that's enough money for. And I'm not saying you shouldn't try and get as much money as you can as a player. Of course you should. But what I'm saying is the situation we find ourselves in now is where some of these bigger orgs are going bust is because what they created their business model around isn't a sustainable way of making money. So instead of us having sympathy for them and trying to work out how we can get them more money, we should just sit here and think, well, who are the people we give a fuck about?
It's not for them. It's for everyone.
But I only care about the players.
It's not actually more money.
But that's why you think teams are needed.
It's not about more money. It's about not losing money. It's it's about making
what is the
sustainable a way in which now that the VC money is running out, so money is not falling down from the trees anymore. It's like, what is it that we can do to not burn all the money that we have and then have to.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think like they don't all have to go bankrupt, right? Not all of them will. Some of them will survive, right? Some of the
teams like Ants, or the very big ones that have a massive following by now, like G2, like Liquid, like
they're like
Cloud9.
a lifestyle brand now. right? Like
Yeah.
that's where
Liquid?
Yeah, well, Liquid is a good example. I
You
think
mean
G2 is
I think
100
everyone's had to
fees.
bring in that element of.
FaZe are fucked. You saw their numbers, right? You saw what Rain said they're earning in the counter.
I mean, I'd be suspicious of that, but yeah, let's say he's in the ballpark. Yeah, it's a bit
but then
crazy.
and you can use that.
But
to try
FaZe
and
is also fucked in 5 different ways before you even get to that
But
point.
you can use those numbers to try and extrapolate salaries, right? If you just wanted to. Actually, you
I
can
mean,
even
we
find some
know
of the
enough player salaries.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think necessarily. I would be curious if it's the business model that's flawed, or if it's just the scale
Players-
of the money that's going into right. Like, it doesn't seem like it should be that flawed if salaries aren't as crazy as they are. Like, I know some players making like $50K a month.
That's which like.
Oh,
if
that's
you're,
only a couple of the
If
best
you're
players.
simple, a couple of the very top players.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're simple Zywo, yeah, fuck yeah, you know.
But there's some other ones like middling at like 30s. You know, and then there's some down at the 15s and the 12s and the 10s. But
if you win Katowice or Cologne, and then after you split it or whatever, that's like 2.5 salaries for a player, and
Yeah.
and the prize pool is like the first place is $500,000. Like, there's something like wrong there, like the financial incentive is nice, but when it's only like two more of your salaries or 2.5 of your salaries,
It doesn't really
or
mean
even
a lot.
3, right? It doesn't mean as much, and that tells you that the salaries are probably
yeah.
too high, because how much should you give for a tournament like Cologne or Katowice in terms of the prize money? Like,
especially when you look at what the major is prize money's at. But this is my whole point.
It's lower the prize money. Play for pride, baby.
People don't even- but people-
what you do is you lower the salary, so you're more incentivized to place
win.
high in tournaments. We get the fuck out of those like last 4, 6, 8
Performance-based
spots,
contracts.
get 0, right? Yeah, but I mean, of course, listen, chat is for the play. I mean, we're all for the players in some sorts, because
I'm
we're
just a
all players.
radical.
But
You are
you're just going all in.
hardcore.
Burn it down.
But the problem is you can't like tunnel vision like that. And the reason for the players is they have a limited time period.
Yeah, they can
that
only
their
be a pro
career-
for so long.
that their career is in. But here's the thing, Chad. If you don't find a sustainable way to do this thing of ours, well, players are not going to get jack shit. There's not going to be anything to play for. There's not going to be $1 million tournament. We're going to go back to...
I don't know. Valve will still
I don't think it's ever going to get to that
Valve
point.
is still running the major.
Here's the thing, like, you want to get the let's say
Here's what I want, Janko.
wait, you want players to get, let's say, a bigger piece of the pie, right? But our problem is the pie is shrinking, so a bigger piece of a smaller pie won't mean much. The point is
Yeah, but
making the pie bigger.
Your pie,
or in your case, or in our particular case, stop putting the dick in the pie.
your pie that you're talking about, Yanko, all the edges are fucking burnt.
American Pie reference.
I got that. Yeah.
I don't want the burnt edges. The burnt edges are the orgs. I don't want them. You keep your burnt
But
bits.
you can't say that, because every success. Just look at it like this, right? Like, now you can't just have. It's not just 5 players playing. It's 5 players and a coach.
Yeah, but we
okay, it's 6 guys that are together. That's fine. Okay, but now, well, the mental game is important. Sports psychologist. Okay, we can find someone, but who's gonna find them? Coach, well, he has too much on his hands already, so we need a manager.
Can we ballpark something
okay,
right here?
So we have, but how are we gonna? So we're giving money to all these guys
listen,
from the
listen.
tournament.
Let's ballpark this. One individual player at a major from sticker money. How much do you think?
But Chad,
Just
only
listen,
24
listen.
teams make the major.
Just listen. How much money do you think per player for sticker money? Roughly, I don't know. What do you think? Per
6
player?
figures.
6 figures. So what do we?
Low 6 figures.
I was gonna say like 100K.
Okay, so let's say 100K.
180 to 150.
Okay, so we'll go in the middle somewhere. Can we
Just
go?
do 100K for ease of math. It's 100.
60K.
You think it's 100? You only think it's 100K?
No, I'm sure it's more. I'm just saying.
Okay,
100K
how
is
much
easy.
do you think an org takes?
Surely we can do some basic math, like 180.
Okay, how much money do you think an org gets from the sticker side with the viewer pass stuff as well? How much? Because I think we're
I have no
talking
idea.
close to $500,000, if not more.
Sure.
No, it's 7 figures.
Okay,
After the split or before the split?
what are you talking about? Split with
Surely we could
who?
do some basic
Players.
No. All I'm trying to do is work out one entity, so an entire team. Let's just say, for example,
I bet-
I don't know, FaZe. How much money at one major do FaZe make as the entire FaZe? All 5 players sticker money and the team sticker. How much do we think that one lump sum of cash is?
Of all the stickers.
Low 7 figures.
Low. Give me.
1,100,000.
So we think they make.
Especially if they make the playoffs.
So at a major, if they go to 2 majors in a year, right? We'll upscale that. Let's say they make $2.5 million a year. with
Okay.
majors.
We're making a lot
But
of assumptions.
but half of that goes. Half
That's why
of
I'm
the
using
team,
you guys. I don't know.
I don't either.
But half of the team stickers goes to FaZe. Half of the team stickers the players split. them.
Exactly. Now kill FaZe. FaZe are dead. You just went in the office. You just killed everybody. All
Okay.
FaZe management is dead. The only people you've kept, Yanko, is the 5 players, the coach, the manager. Who else did you need? The mental person. And what else do we want to have? You can have 2 more people. I'll give you 2 more.
You're forgetting one of the main reasons that orgs exist as well.
Is what? Why do they exist?
Well, I mean, if you extrapolate it from traditional sports, team organizations are there to activate local fan bases, which we obviously
But we
don't
don't
have
do.
in esports, but they're there to activate a fan base, right? It's hard if you're a casual fan to just say, I like this player, I want to follow him, and he's on
Chad.
a different team every tournament. Having him signed
Riddle
to a
me-
team.
Nah,
riddle me this.
Yeah.
Nah.
That you had that in Dota because of TI. That was, and then OG decided to become an org. Why did they do that if that's so nice?
I have no idea. Maybe they were bored.
Because it's too much fucking work for the players. You need to have someone to sort out like the basic shit for you, to talk to ESL, book the flights. Okay, you will say you get a manager. What's that manager going to work for? Salary or percentage of the prize pool? You don't want to get a percentage for the prize pool. Salary. Okay, so you have to pay him salary each month.
Yeah, it's like tennis.
Regardless
Pay
if
your
you
team.
get
Pay
sticker
your
money or
team.
not. So then
Now you
if
need
you
an
don't
accountant.
if you don't make a major,
If you don't have an accountant, you're already fucked. If
Who-
you didn't have an
so we
accountant
get,
already,
so-
Jason, we're
okay,
in
so
trouble.
we're just the players. There's no teams. Okay, we get sticker money. Which account does it go to?
Fucking managers.
Manager's account, and he's just gonna,
You-
because of the
you-
good of his card, give it to the players.
Well, you would hope, Yanko, that you're going to do the normal
Oh,
things that
Chad,
normal
you
people
poor
would
soul, you poor naive boy.
do. No, but the way is...
You don't think a manager will fuck over like 5 guys
Hold on,
over
it's your
1
turn.
million euros?
It's your turn. You
Yeah,
got to
get
go.
over there.
No, I mean, it's happened
Bitch.
before. It has happened before.
Can't handle
Many
my
times in the
arguments.
past.
You're pushing me away.
Hey, man, you said you would walk when
Chasing
the
me
light
away.
went off. And he can hear me while he's around the other side of the room. So
Listen, you just have to understand that Chad's on the hardcore end of the spectrum when it
That
comes
was
to team
easy.
organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I figured out the spot. He just walked right towards where I
well,
was.
you went to go to
It's
a whole
easy when
loop.
you use
Well,
your
yeah, but
brain
I didn't-
instead of your feet.
I was just saying, I went around.
Oh, shit.
He would have done the same if he didn't realize it was already the corner.
Yeah, anyway, why did old boy come in here and fucking take the shit?
I don't know. I was excited for some fucking orange and pineapple water.
Yeah, he came and so what time was it? He took everything.
11?
Is it 11 o'clock?
Is it 10?
It can't be 11
It's
o'clock.
9:15.
That was
It was
close.
11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, Jason. Jesus.
I don't know.
We've been going for 51 minutes and 50 seconds. I think I've changed
We
the
haven't
scene
even talked about Dallas yet. You've changed it how many times? 4?
about 6.
6?
How long?
I've done a good
1
job.
hour?
No, almost an hour.
Oh shit! All right.
But the Dallas conversation, I think, is,
No, but
is
wait,
also
we didn't
coupled
fi-
with this next part. Yeah, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
It's all
So-
connected.
So dumb.
You have every other episode, Chad.
Yeah.
You have a take that's like so moronic that I have to spend 30 minutes.
I don't think it's a bad take.
You see, that's what I said last time around, and you just couldn't believe your
No,
your
but that's,
ears.
but that's
I It's not a bad take, it's just that end of the spectrum.
No, it was too harsh what I said. It's not like it's not a moronic take. It's just like there are multiple reasons why that
but
exists.
the model doesn't work
Like-
for everybody, and it's proved by orgs going under. FaZe doesn't make money, right?
Yeah,
Well,
but you look like on a team is a business like
But
any other.
ENCE is closer
You look at
to what we're looking
so
for,
how
right?
much? So you want to have more money coming in than it's going out, right? It's the
I would
most
like to
simple-
make a profit.
Yes.
I would like to make,
Exactly.
if possible.
So in the
big one? I
in
don't
the
know.
near future, if you're like just starting out, maybe first couple of years, you're going to operate
You'll
with
be
a
in a
loss,
loss.
until you build stuff, right? But if years have passed and this has happened, you need to look at what's easier for us to do? Increase our income or decrease our expenditures?
Well, if you work
So
for
what do
any
you think-
business we
so
work
what do-
for,
so what
it's
do you think-
decrease expenditures.
Exactly. Right.
So it's
So
cut
maybe-
costs, it's cut everybody off at the knees, it's don't hire the right people, and it's hope the business still goes.
These are two different.
chugging along.
These are two different.
That's the model we've
These are
learned.
two different types of businesses that we're comparing. So yeah, for team orgs as well, it's a little bit of finding ways
you
to
have to
sell
spend
better.
to get your results.
Yes, you have to find ways, but then you have to find ways to sell better when you get those results. And you're probably spending too much on salaries, let's say, for the players. You could listen, if a player is making 30,000 and he's like in a top 5, 6, 7 team in the world, but he's not winning every other event or stuff like that, you go to him and you say, from tomorrow, all top 5 teams in the world, your salary is half. You think they'd go on a strike and not play? Like that's still 15K a month
Yeah.
that you're
That's
playing
still good
for.
money.
So right? Like,
Yeah, I just think that I would prefer us to be on the Ent side of the spectrum as opposed to the 100 Thieves side of the spectrum.
yeah,
sure.
that's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that these bloated entities that don't understand what they're doing
And
quite
I think
clearly.
the difference though is that I guess the difference is the argument that you're making where you don't trust the business model.
No, but I
versus
think things like
other
what
sides where
I
it's
think-
like the business model is just being managed improperly.
Well, I think things like what Disguised Toast is doing, for example, is,
Sure.
is a better way for esports teams to potentially go. And it obviously can't be all of them either. That would never work.
We've talked about this a number of times in the podcast too, where it feels like the future isn't going to be team orgs; it's going to be streamers
yeah,
picking up teams.
personalities. Yeah. and they have a lot of reasons to be able to do.
Do you know why G2 is one of the most successful orgs?
Shine Menashe.
Because they have a personality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Across every game, you know what G2 is going to be about. And it's fun to be a fan of a team that does that.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem. Like some of these North American orgs, they're just taking like examples
They take
from
everything
sports.
too seriously as
From
well.
sports,
Yeah.
and it's
Corporate.
like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very corporate. And it's like I agree with you there. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
Right? Like sure, we can learn some things from those people, but they know how to do business, but you know how to approach fans, how to interact with them, how
Yep.
to monetize perhaps as well. That's not the same as it is in sports, and that's the big challenge for everyone.
It's about like a lot of this is just like not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? In a lot of that's a fun saying. That's
He
a good
likes
one.
that saying.
It's a good one.
He also likes cook the pooch, overcook the pooch.
Overcook the pooch. Yeah, I don't even know. That's not even a real saying. But throw the baby out with the bathwater is a real saying. At least I believe. I've heard other people say it
I've
before.
heard the Brits say throw the baby out with the pram.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you call it a stroller, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call it?
I don't know.
You don't have a name.
I
for it?
zoned out. I was like thinking about. I was thinking about the scenes, like and everything else.
I can change right now.
Go
I
for
can
8.
change soon.
There we go.
There we go. What were we talking about just a second ago? Oh, the throwing the yeah. I just think that
Throwing the baby overboard.
I just think that we scaled to a place where like this is all uncharted territory as well. This is something else that I think that people need to remind themselves of more often. There are going to be things that are better or worse than other things that we've done because we're learning literally every
we
day,
go, yeah.
every day. Like in
Do you
terms
think
of
anyone knows where
Who
this
knows?
is going?
Maybe Pro League is the way to broadcast.
there'll definitely be parts of that I think should be adopted. Maybe not like the stand-up comedy stuff about EG, but there are some other
Why the fuck not?
there are some other elements of it that I think could be fun like that. But yeah, I think that a lot of the issues we're in right now were out of. Well, I don't actually know if it could pinpoint it and just put it on this, but when there was the fight for the tournament organizers to get the names, right? That is when we found ourselves in a lot of these franchising conversations.
But look at this as well. What you mentioned about EG and all this stuff, and it got me thinking real quick. Like, look at the UFC example as well, to some extent, right? Like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, all the money that the fighters made was from bouts and winning titles and whatnot,
Yeah.
right? And then Conor McGregor shows up, and sure, there were probably some other guys to some extent before and after who is a
Monetized
billionaire
in a different
now
way.
and monetized in a different way with like showmanship and creating hype and all
Content
this stuff.
around himself.
Content around himself, more so, right? So here's the problem with our game. All the money that the players earn is through competition, right?
Yes.
Salaries are dependent on results and placings, higher prize money, the higher you finish, right? But because I'm thinking like Pro League, what did the people like the most?
From the viewer perspective.
Yeah, from the viewer's perspective, players being on the
Us.
on the broadcast, on the broadcast, commentating,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
being on the couch and all
A
this stuff.
different look at
So
them.
why can't we get them to do that more often? Well, because they're playing and they have to focus on practicing and they don't have that much free time. Well, how do we incentivize them to do it regardless
Well,
of
we can't
that?
pay 'em.
Well, yeah,
They make too much money.
No, we can't pay them. But if actually that is what the people want and would be willing to pay for,
Okay.
or that's where like that would increase viewership, or so it would bring like sponsorship dollars.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
potentially, and then for players also that would be another stream of income, source of income. Maybe they would get more individual sponsorships, right? Like if they saw that as an avenue for them to earn, then they would be more
Inclined to
Inclined
to be
to it.
involved. Yeah,
I think it's a bit of a long shot.
it's
like,
obviously not for all players either.
yeah,
Like, that's
in-
something else.
in that sense, but just as a model for, let's say, just Pro League, right? Considering the revenue
We want a
shares and all of
crowdfund.
that stuff, right? So that would be a way for, hey, you the guys do cool shit with us. We'll be able to sell it, which you will get a percentage of, and then you don't have to stress so much about just your placing.
Yeah, but then I got to talk to their fucking org after I do an SSD setup video, and they go, well, that's not our betting sponsor anymore, even though you recorded the content with me, and then we can't fucking release it on YouTube. And then we have one where a cunt got signed to a different fucking team, so the new team he joined wasn't letting him release it because he's wearing a jersey of an old team, like he was never in that team. He fucking played matches in that team. This was three really good SSD videos that they fucking were awesome. They were great. And we never got to release them because of sponsor bullshit.
I mean,
I had three great videos planned for this media day, but I wasn't here.
Well,
Actually, Frank, thought it out. It was me and Rush were supposed to do our thing.
yeah.
Pre-recorded, talked to them about it, and didn't happen. Maybe in Cologne.
Yeah.
maybe on
Let's always do it
Thursday.
next time.
Got another media day on Thursday.
It's not possible to do it on Thursday.
See, Jason?
Okay.
I'll tell you
I
why.
learned something new.
I'll tell
Sure,
you why later.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not fucking possible.
I can't
Jason.
disclose
Yeah, my
here.
bad. I
You
didn't.
fucking
Yeah.
get your shit together, Jason.
Yeah, you need another coffee, mate.
No, well, the guy took the coffee. There's no
He
fucking,
did take
there's
the
no
coffee.
there's no coffee.
But
He-
there's
There's creamer. Take shots
have
of
energy
creamer.
drinks.
there is Monsters, which we all everyone. No, I don't drink Monster. I don't drink Red Bull. I don't drink any form of energy drink.
I had to
Hydro
like.
homies.
Yeah.
I had to
And
have
soju.
a Red Bull or two in the last two. I had one when I did the Gamers Without Borders thing online. That was
Oh, yeah,
like
how'd
in,
that
the,
go?
Yeah.
in the silly shift. It was great, man.
Who was
I
the
loved it.
hosty guy? What was he about? I haven't seen him
Banks.
before. Oh, I thought they had a guy. Didn't they have a? I thought there was a different guy doing it.
It's Banks something. No, not that Banks. Another Banks.
Okay.
There's another Banks.
Yeah, Charlie Banks.
I don't
Charles
know.
Banks.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Sorry, mate, but it was late in the evening. So
Where was
there
he from?
UK
Yeah.
or the Ukraine? I'm not sure. One of the
I'm
two.
trying to learn.
Yeah, close.
Trying to learn about
But-
this guy.
I'm
But-
confused those accents too.
I think he was in Katowice at the time because there was a green screen behind him, a big one.
Oh.
So yeah, and the other time was prior to leaving for my flight here, because the flight was at 6 a.m. So I had to leave at 4. I didn't
Oh, heaven
pack.
forbid.
So it's like, what do I do? So I was like staying up watching Black Mirror, and I was like, do I sleep for 2-3 hours or not? No, that's terrible. So I just had a Red Bull, pushed through it, packed, and went over.
I'll be honest.
Here we go.
I'll be honest with everybody here. I want to bring out the notes. I want to see what I can talk to you. We can't talk about that stuff. This stuff here we can't talk about. This we need to have a dinner.
A separate
We
conversation.
need to have,
yeah.
That's for a dinner.
No,
this
that's
one.
for
I
a-
can handle that. I can get that set up.
That's for a steak dinner.
Steak dinner.
Yanko, how does this sound?
All right.
Jason,
This is gonna be some Mad Libs bullshit.
you ready? You guys ready for this? You guys ready?
Yep.
You better do the shots. Okay. Hope it goes down good. Okay. So in the fashion of talking about suckling off the teat of Valve,
Sure.
so that our ecosystem
I love that teat.
comes from Rich Daddy.
That's a big teat.
Rich Daddy. We don't have to do any weird prostitution on the internet. We just, Daddy.
Not that there's anything wrong with
Daddy
that.
pays the bills. We don't have to get into any weird nonsense out there, Yanko. It's Daddy's going to pay the bills. Here's the major. It's 14 days. 32 teams. The event starts. 2 times 16 team Swiss groups. All games best of 3.
Wait,
Why?
the entire Swiss system best of 3?
Yes.
Chad,
I'm eliminating the best of 3s. I mean the best of 1s.
we've
How many streams is that?
Mate.
8?
It's 4 streams.
okay, get out. You're done.
No,
I'm-
it's we can
you've
manage
lost
it.
me.
Come on now.
You told me about this before, and I let it slide. I didn't know it was all best of 3s. We've done a Swiss system best of 3.
Yeah, we're about to do it again with 32 teams.
It's psychotic.
Come on, Jason.
4 streams.
Yeah.
32 teams, 14 days.
Yeah.
All best of 3s.
Yeah.
Is that like a game every day for a team that makes the final?
If they lose, if they lose the game, yeah, they'll be playing every day. This is the major. Yanko, are you here to play Counter-Strike or are you here to fuck spiders?
Why doesn't that not apply to best of 1s?
Jason, Yanko said he doesn't want best of ones.
I don't want
I'm
best of
getting rid of
ones.
best of ones.
But
Would you rather have
I
best
don't
of
like.
ones or
Is that it? Or do you have more?
4 streams of best of
There's-
threes?
There's more. There's more.
Ah, okay, let's hear it all.
So
No way.
from those groups,
Wait. How many games a day on each stream?
it
3
works
best of
out.
threes.
Yeah,
Can't be more than
it
that.
works out at 3.2. So one of the days we gotta do some fandangling, but otherwise,
Okay.
it's,
Ah, the 5th stream.
we'll work it out, Yanko. We'll work it out. So
ESL
the first 4 days, 4 streams, 3 best of threes every day on every stream. Okay, you with me?
I'm with you.
March Madness, Counter-Strike, just kicking off everywhere. Of those 2 16-team Swiss groups,
March Madness is best of 1. Go on.
I don't give a fuck. 8 teams from each group progress and are then combined for another 16-team Swiss group.
This is horrendous.
Now, we've spent the first 5 days doing 32 teams.
Sure.
Now, the next 5 days, there's no breaks.
16 teams.
We do the 16 teams. Now that's done.
There's no break.
No breaks. Now we're up to
Where's
the
the
plot.
content?
Well, apparently you don't need content. Did you watch the last major?
Last 7 majors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you get yourself up to that point. Now we play out this. There's another 5 days. Bang, 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 bang. Our top 8 teams for the single elimination, best of 3, bracket, done. We go into it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Bang, 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 bang. All good. 14 days, non-stop Counter-Strike, best of 3s the whole way. Because we can't extend past 2 weeks. People don't want best of ones. And we seed it with an up-to-date fucking Valve ranking coming into the tournament.
Now, do you have 4 desks?
Jason, you're talking about stuff that people clearly don't give a fuck about. What are we trying to do? Everybody watched the last major. There was one desk.
Thanks, Chad.
There wasn't. There was one desk. There was one desk. There wasn't any content. You know what they did have? They had,
but
they
do you
had
know?
no delays.
Do you think?
And they had
So,
games.
Do you?
That's all we need. No delays in games.
All right, but if they had actually good teams in the playoffs, they could have broken the record for the viewership.
They could have, but I'm just telling you what they did. And apparently nobody gave a fuck. So if that's the case, why don't we just do this?
Why do you think nobody gave a fuck? Because no one made a Reddit thread or no one tweeted at you at it? Like that's a minority of the viewers or the people who do that. There's
But
a lot
it's
of
also
viewers
the
who
minority
just
of the viewers who want the hardcore
I
content.
feel like
right?
I sidetracked this. That's a
no.
minuscule
Listen,
thing.
but I will say this though. That's horrible.
What do you mean? It's got
Because
everything you want. It's
no,
got
it's
best
got,
of 3s.
No, it's got Swiss system.
Okay.
Fuck the Swiss system.
But the Swiss system is the best sorting method.
No, it's not.
It is if
Not
it's well
for
seeded.
not for Counter-Strike. No, especially not for that. Swiss system is the best system when you can't seed the opponents properly beforehand, so the system seeds them by the fact that making winners play winners and losers play losers. That's the whole point of the fucking system. If we can see the teams beforehand, we don't need fucking Swiss system. Fuck the person who first added the Swiss system into the Counter-Strike circuit. Fuck you, Mozo. So, screw that. Also,
Hold on, but this
fuck
is a maths
32.
here.
We don't have.
I worked out how many games per day.
We don't have.
He's so proud of this.
We don't have 32 teams that are good enough yet. Which okay,
Yeah, we
arguably we don't need to have them. If we want to make it like a global celebration of the game, you know, like
Yeah.
the World Cup.
Exactly.
You have shit teams like Serbia playing in the World
and
Cup.
Australia.
Yeah, and all of that. They're never going to make the playoffs.
Never
And
gonna
when they do,
win.
they're going to get banged out. Exactly.
Yeah,
right?
lose to Italy.
But everyone can get together,
Italy's
you know,
pretty
and do it and watch together,
it's like the
right?
volleyball tournament in the hotel.
That
So everyone can play.
Yeah, everyone can play. So that way, no.
Young,
I told you,
old.
it's like nowadays with the how do you get those 32 teams to the major? Just the ranking?
Yeah.
No qualifiers, nothing.
No, I think that, well, you'd have to have some qualifier, I believe.
Okay, how many teams?
I would say 16.
16 through the qualifier,
Yeah.
and this qualifier is online.
No, we could do it like the RMRs now.
So 16 team LAN qualifier, and 16
No, we
teams
can
are waiting.
keep it regionally based. But I think from the rest of it, because this is what I like.
Okay, and teams to that regional qualifiers like the RMRs, they get through online qualifiers.
Yeah, like it was for this thing.
Some closed,
Yeah,
invited, and through the rankings,
Based off the-
and
yeah.
open qualifiers as well.
Yeah,
And
because I
how
like
long
that
do
system.
those take?
Well, that's not on my maths sheet, right?
Exactly.
But
So
we haven't gotten
you
there
can't
yet.
just look at. You have to look at how long does the whole major process take.
I think it's
How
about
do you-
2 months.
No,
I was gonna say
yeah, but how exactly? So how do you get if you want qualifiers? How much time for this? How many invites and all of that stuff? I'll tell you a different one.
Okay.
Again, 16 team major.
Change
You
the
go in
camera.
the wrong way.
16-team major
Changing the camera.
qualifier.
But you go in the wrong way. You want more, not...
No.
Oh, 16-team major and 16-team major
qualifier.
So you're taking money out of the people's mouths. Now, Yanko, we need more
No, I'm
gambling
not.
sponsors. We
No.
need more dodgy skin sponsors.
No,
we
Chad.
need more
No, Chad.
pornographic sponsors
No,
because you're
Chad.
taking
We're
money
going
out
back-
of people's mouths.
We're going back to the time when fucking Walk Seminor made it to the Katowice major when no one expected
Bless
it.
up,
Was,
baby.
It was a sensation. People loved it. There
Oh, they
was
couldn't get
energy.
enough.
You were crying.
Still
you were like
talking about
crying
it,
your
listen.
eyes out. Then you puked on camera and shat yourself.
It was one of the most iconic moments in Counter-Strike.
He's very
And
jealous.
no, but the point here is this:
Yeah.
like you said, Wancha, if everything is hype, nothing is hype.
Yeah.
If we make a 32-team major, then it's not special in that much anymore. Making it to the major. So instead
Well,
of that,
I think it's still special.
bring it back, but do this: make a sticker or something, like preferably a case. I think personally on the previous topic, I think the way to go is you let tournaments have like viewer passes of their own.
They're never going to do that.
So okay, then fuck me, but you know, like just give them the opportunity to have that, and they will do all the work, create the fucking thing, everything, you know, above board, no shady shit or anything like that, and then the tournament organizer can get a piece of that. Valve gets a piece of that. Obviously, the biggest piece of that, they still get 75, 25,
Yeah.
even whatever, and that gives everyone a little bit of something. But regardless, you have a 16-team major qualifier where. Right now, if there's a 16-team major,
Yeah.
right? So a 16-team major qualifier will have some pretty fucking good teams and pretty good games.
Wait, we're qualifying 16 teams, or there's 16 teams?
16 teams in the qualifier, 8 goes to the major.
Wait, so
And 8 are waiting for them.
no, I hate
yes,
that. No,
yes,
it's
but
already in
but
the bin.
but the 8 that are waiting for them aren't the top 8 from the previous major.
It doesn't matter who they are.
All right.
You can't have 8 teams automatically qualify for a major.
Yes, of course you can.
No, we can't.
You can.
It's bullshit.
Yes, you can.
This
You
major
could you
showed
could
us
pick
it's
out.
bullshit.
You could now pick out. No, it did not, because
But-
we have a bunch of
But it
best of
happened
ones
at
and the
last
seeding is
major
bad.
as well.
Because we have a bunch of best of ones and the seeding is shit.
But
give
they-
me chat.
there's-
Give me
you
good
have
seeding.
no proof.
Even shit format. Give me good seeding with a shit format, and you won't see that happen.
But there's
you
only
give me
one
good
thing that's
seeding and a
true.
good format. But you know what the problem is? The problem is that now for both majors we're saying, oh yeah, they won a few. We're discrediting almost every run from these teams because of the format and because of the seeding. Back then, at least if you would
No.
make it, now it would be a legit run. They make it with the proper
You're
seeding
looking at
and full
everything-
best of threes. They make the playoffs. You're saying, wow. What a fucking feat.
No, because
which is what
it's
we
not a
used to
fair
say
framing.
about you making it, about the Brazilians making it, about this team doing it, that team doing it, because it was like under the circumstance when all the games were best of one. You couldn't complain about best of threes. It was a different time, right?
But it's all a different time, Yanko. Your point is predicated off of a tournament circuit where the two biggest TOs run partner models for the whole year. That right there is the issue. You're measuring everything you know about Counter-Strike at a major by that, and that's not fair. Those other teams don't have as many opportunities to qualify. And even
Okay.
at events where they do, it looks like there's a
But-
good split. It's all regional, so there might be 2 or 3 European spots, but there's a whole bunch of better European teams than fucking Tai Lu or Greyhound.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
don't even give options at the year of the circuit, and the only time there is the fairness is the major. And I agree with you that the seeding's bad and the best of ones have got to go, but they just went to the biggest tournament and they won games against big
Chad,
teams.
I'll tell you another thing. You know which is a team that actually was really good and came up through the world rankings?
Gambit.
Yes. So obviously it's possible. So why didn't any other team do it? Why isn't Gamer Legion up there? Or Apex? Or Monty?
Gambit did it online, whereas
Whatever,
these guys did
who
it
cares?
on LAN.
Who
Well,
cares?
I think a
They're
different
still
environment.
they're still up there on LAN. Like it's
No,
okay.
I
They're not
agree.
winning
I agree that
tournaments,
they're
but they're like
playing
a top
well.
5 team.
Yeah, but
For
they're
2 years
also-
now that we're back on LAN.
they're also in like a bit of trouble. Like they haven't played good.
Dude, they're
Counter-Strike
not
in
in
a
as
while.
much, like their trouble. That's like when people were criticizing Aaron Rodgers one year. It's like he's having a bad year, and he said, "My bad year is like a career year for most of the guys out there."
Yeah, but that is like if we're measuring them as an elite team, right?
Yeah, but
they're
they
still-
became because they actually became an elite team. That's why they're an elite team. They didn't fluke their way into it. They didn't like do fuck all. Like I agree they have less opportunities, but the opportunities are still there. Sure, maybe it's difficult for them to get into this tournament, like Dallas or Rio, maybe even like play-ins of that stuff. But there's challenger events, which were DreamHack Opens. You can come into those, like you can win that. You win that, you get a spot in Cologne or Katowice. Like there are ways. Like you can't tell me that there are no ways. And I think you've actually mind game yourself. Like your perception is skewed, not mine. Because you're thinking, because so many spots are locked that we don't get to see these teams that did really good. And I'm saying if they were actually as good as you think, they'll still find their way into some tournaments, like 9 did. They qualified for Rio. They made it there. They fucking fluked out at the major, unfortunately. Why? Because also they had to play best of ones, where people eliminate some of their strongest maps in the veto because now they know what they play.
Can't play Vertigo.
They can't. Yeah, I mean against 9, right? Like, and 9 doesn't know how to play Ancient or Inferno, so
they did win on Ancient the other day though. They did break their loss streak.
Well,
yeah.
That's good for them.
Yeah, they tried to play Inferno. That went worse.
South.
And I like that they did that for the major.
Yeah,
I
thought it was a cool
and,
move.
But in the end, like there's teams that like show some progress and are doing it, and there's a reason why these teams are not as good, man. Like either the teams that have inexperienced players, like let's say Monty, SDY and LMBT help them a lot.
Sure.
Because you know how it is when you initially go through, even if you don't even know why you're losing.
Yeah,
you don't understand how the other team is beating you until you play these teams multiple times and you see what's happening. And I think it becomes much faster nowadays because
it's easier to learn.
It's easier to learn, and the players are so better, and everyone's like more serious and watching more and like applying themselves more. But there's a reason why some of the players are on top and the teams are on top, and some of these others aren't. And it's not only the lack of opportunities.
But that right there is where, for me, like
you can't tell me that Bad News Eagles will make 3 majors in a row and not a single other tournament in between. That's because they don't have the opportunities. They don't make a single qualifier, a single season of Pro League, a single open event, showdown, whatever it is. Although Blast is actually close.
They had their chance to make Pro League.
Yes, and
they botched it.
They did.
Yeah, they dropped the ball.
Yes. Well, I think that like Bad News Eagles, they're like the flip side of modern Counter-Strike, right? But like somebody who we've seen like an Apex, right, who just qualified for Pro League, they had a really hard slog against Spirit Academy. It was earlier today or yesterday, I forget which one it is. They kind of all blur it into the same thing. But like they'll have an opportunity to try and they have qualified for another event. Yeah. But I think my biggest crux of the issue is, Yanko, is not the fact that like I inherently think that these underdog teams are just better or as good as, right? I understand that they're going to swing for the fences, and sometimes they're going to hit the ball at the park, and sometimes they're going to fuck it up, right?
You didn't have another baseball reference in you, did you?
No, foul ball, or 3 strikes and you're out. One of the balls. But I have an issue getting
the hot dog,
getting past the fact that it's not equal for everybody to try and get into all of them. That's the biggest issue that I have.
Life isn't fucking fair.
No, but
like that's the thing. This is Nico's point from that fucking tweet is people will say there's not enough opportunities for these teams. There's more opportunities than ever.
Yes,
for these players.
Definitely.
And
but
especially
it's still
players.
Not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is every team having an equal opportunity, which they do not.
Yes.
That's
there's reasons for that being the case.
Yeah, and we've discussed some of those today already. But that there is the crux of my issue. It's like I am measuring things, right, where things weigh differently. Like I'm not using.
But Chad, you're saying that I don't know, some tennis player isn't as good as Djokovic or this guy, or not even like the top 3, but like the 6th or 7th or 8th guy, because he doesn't get invited to tournaments as much.
But in tennis, don't you get invited to the tournament based off of your world ranking?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
but a certain amount of player.
Our world rankings are skewed because of our partner systems. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For 4 or 5 teams.
That's my point. Is that like the?
Yeah, but you can go up in the ranking. Sure, that fucks you, but that fucks you for like 3 or 4 or 5 spots. 4 spots, right? Because partner teams, like, it doesn't fuck you with, like we said, likes of FaZe, G2, Navi. It fucks you with the guys like Big and these teams that you could like realistically beat. And that is a couple of teams, and that part of it sucks.
But the thing is, like, there's never going to be a way for everybody to qualify for everything. Otherwise, we would never stop playing Counter-Strike. Like, I'm aware of that, right? Like, they will have to, and you already brought this up already today. Some teams will have to get invited. My biggest issue is that we're trying to measure this, and we're trying to talk about it and it's something which is going to be impossible to measure fairly. So people will always have a skewed viewpoint, right? Like, because some people think it's okay, some people think it's not okay. Like, I had to come to this realization earlier in either this year or last year that people just are happy with the blast circuit being this fucking jerk off.
No one is happy with that.
But people are, because people watch
Watch what?
the blast premiere.
I don't think that means they're happy with it. I think they're just watching it because they like
'Cause it's
Counter-Strike.
there.
But there's a general belief in the sentiment, right, that the teams the teams that people want to watch are the big profile teams who are the partner teams. So if that is the case, that means people are happy with watching exhibition matches. That's what we're doing. We're doing exhibition matches, and I've had to come to terms with that because people obviously are.
So it's
I think
not
it's
like
that
people
harsh.
are hating it with every season. They're hating it more and more. Like, players hate being there. Like, players hate the fact that they have to be there for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
You know, to play like a bunch of meaningless games at the start,
yeah.
and then maybe 1 or 2 games matter. Like,
I mean, that could be changed with. That's another format conversation, though, right?
But why would they change their format?
because it's dog shit.
But they obviously don't think.
And somehow
they
we
control
managed
all
for
the
Pro League
variables.
to create
It's
a
my
dumber
turn.
format
I can't do it with
with triple eliminations. Like, what's next? Everyone wins. Let's play a round robin. Every match is a grand final, and if you lose, you get like a participation
I think
award.
Chad started this conversation being like, "Yeah, there's a lot of complaining going around, and everything that pops up, being because it's shit."
But a lot
But
of
I'm
this
not
stuff.
complaining. I'm just saying.
A lot of there is a lot of stuff that is bad and does need to be fixed. I agree, but that's the thing as well. That's why, like, I have the point of we're kind of learning on the job with what we're doing with everything.
we just need to stop being bitches, man, and
Yeah,
like,
but-
and listening to every single Reddit thread or like team complaint or everything. Like, we need to. It's not even our job, right? But let's say you are ESL and you will, for some tournaments that are not Pro League, like, this is how we want this thing to look. Like, this is what we believe in, and then you just do it that way and make people adapt, right? Like, obviously not doing some insane things and saying, hey, it has to be
MR9, 16K,
Yeah.
CGS rules.
yeah this way, but do what you believe is best. Like, have your own way.
But that's what
running
Blast are
things.
doing is essentially what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah, and it's terrible. They're wrong. Like, it's clear as day. Not even I don't even care about the viewership numbers that they're dropping or not dropping, depending on which metric you use. They're the highest watched major ever. How people do that
Sure.
with those numbers, but it's just not fun to watch, man. Like, I to myself, I can't. It's like boring to tune into that. I see like, G2 beats Navi 2 times, like in spring group season, and I'm like, this doesn't really like. And then now Navi's playing complexity for a spot in the finals
Yeah, this
somehow, right? It's like these all games didn't mean shit, and
Yeah.
in the end, the fact that G2 is first and Navi is second, let's say in their group, it's like. What's the difference? The seed for the finals that's like 6 months after the
Yeah,
group.
means
I think,
nothing.
yeah.
It
I
means
think they have bigger problems than that. Their problem spans across their entire product across like the whole season. Like you said, 6 months apart from like groups or like 4 months apart.
I
Whatever
liked
it
it
might
when
be.
things were tour stops.
The showdown has like 7 qualifiers for the showdown. It's like
But nobody seems to even give a fuck that went from being a LAN event to being an online
it
event.
was a LAN event.
Showdown
Yeah, it used to
originally,
be.
yeah. No one talked about it. No one said
They
anything.
never brought it. Well, they never
Yeah,
brought it back.
after COVID.
They never brought it back to
Well,
land.
they
after
don't have the
COVID.
money for it, but
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that's happening there, which is also why
I couldn't care less about Blast in terms of the Counter-Strike ecosystem.
it just has an influence on it, which is
It
a
has
problem.
a great. Copenhagen is a great
It's a good
arena.
event. It's a really good
It's a
event.
great event. If it was a 16-team event and executed properly, it would be up there with
Katowice,
Katowice and Cologne.
Yeah.
For me, without a doubt.
Yep.
Everything else about that circuit doesn't make much sense to me.
It's doing more harm
we
than
just say
good.
Copenhagen is the most hype thing, and then you have the bigger one.
Well,
Yeah.
remember
After.
too. I mean, we used to say we could have had these same conversations about ESL six
No,
years
of course,
ago, 7 years
of
ago.
course.
They're still very early on in trying to figure out how they want to position that, and I think restricted by a few things.
It's better than the Pro Series, right? The Premier is better than the Pro Series. They need to pick another P and come up with a new product, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
PP.
But the thing is,
very tired.
the biggest issue
I'm
that
actually feeling great right now. I could go on for
He's
hours.
in that fucking jet lag sweet spot, isn't he?
yeah, why not? You know,
The monster kicked in.
He's got the energy now. I don't know. I think there's some things that have negative impacts on the ecosystem as a whole, which helps put us in a.
I think what I always see is like one of the bigger problems we have right now is, especially when the conversation around team orgs, it feels like more emphasis is being done on the business deals between on the Louvre agreements as like the big solution to the problem, right? Is that when you're not actually building up your product as a team organization, right? Like that is where, to me, it feels like things are misallocated, where it feels like.
Doesn't that mean they should have more responsibility in putting on a good show then?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, but then why would they be happy with the format that ESL picked? It's like, it's really, you know what I mean?
Because they need to lose 17 games to be out of the tournament. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's like
so they're happy, but
there needs to be something at stake for the games to be.
Technically 3, but
17
right now,
works. 17 actually does sound better now that I say that.
But
yeah.
3 as well. Yeah. No,
No, but I know your point, because I actually did this the other day. I said the same thing on I did a podcast with Duncan and Maui, and it was the same thing where it's like, if you go down, we've gotten to a point where over the years we've actually added more ways for teams to stay alive. So you're delaying where the exciting games happen, and you're taking away excitement from the tournament, because it's like Pro League, 3 chances to get, you actually have a mid bracket as well.
With a mid bracket. What the fuck is a mid bracket?
I know, that was the first time I heard that
I don't know why they didn't just have upper, lower, and last chance. I don't know why mid bracket.
I don't even care about that. Fuck that as well. Like last chance. Bullshit. Like, why are we overcomplicating these things?
Do we think that there is a good place in the circuit to have different formats of tournaments, right? Because if everything was the same, that would be boring, right? But we obviously need a variation of formats. Now, the ones that we're discussing now are obviously bad. I think that things that are more 2 lives is where we should be seeing. But for example, this Game is 8 thing that's going to be happening, right? That's I think it's single elimination, right?
Cool. I love it.
If that was every event, well, I don't know if I would love that.
No, not for every event.
The fact that it's one event, it's cutthroat.
Remember,
that's cool.
Swiss system used to be nice when it first came out. It was actually an enjoyable thing to follow. And then remember that, was it 2018, 2017 was like the year that everyone did Swiss system across the entire circuit.
Did best of 3 Swiss all the way.
Which is why I'm having PTSD with your idea. But yeah, I mean, we
too
had
many games.
Yeah.
Like for Swiss best, it's just unnecessary.
No, I agree.
It's unnecessary. It was again accepted because the players could lose 3 times. You know, they needed to lose 3 times instead of just 2 times, right? And of course, they welcomed it. The TOs, they got more hours watched, right? And so it was like, oh yeah, well, everyone's happy. Like let's just do it. And it's ridiculous. Like, and then everyone's copying each other, right? And continuing the same trends instead of stopping to think, can we think of something better than this shit?
Yeah.
For example, why don't we fucking do in the playoffs, if we have like seeded teams,
we're really pushing my limits on format conversation. How long are we doing this now? 40 minutes?
I just want the thing.
I'm getting a migraine.
I just want the thing where like the top seed picks who they play against out of the field.
Okay, we had that once before.
Like a Red Rover style.
Something like that. And they're like, because like 1-8 is going to be obvious, but maybe 2 picks 6.
That was Flashpoint, wasn't it?
And then it's also... But it was
Flashpoint
not at one like Katowice or...
I think a Katowice did it.
Did Katowice do it?
Or maybe it was a Pro League.
I think one...
I know Flashpoint did it.
It's fun because...
Before Flashpoint did it, it's fun because you can see a team pick a team that is like...
think is weak.
You don't think like that they're... you're surprised that they pick them, but it tells you that they think... they're weaker, maybe it's a matchup thing. Yeah. It just creates hype. Like just that in itself has created you an exciting moment that has nothing to do with the format.
Well, this again goes back to the conversation of the entire philosophy. The entire philosophy behind Pro League is you have to start bringing in more entertainment elements to the actual competition.
Well, that game show thing, the one where the people at home got to vote, the one I got to play where the Godby VAC thing with OJ. Like, that was fun. That was a fun tournament, and it was still competitive Counter-Strike, right?
That was the original Swiss.
Yeah, well, do it, man. Change the overtime rules, right? Yeah. If it goes into 2 overtimes, 3rd overtime, each team picks a player, and you play like fucking 5 or 7 rounds of AMAT.
Just nobody wants
best of 7 or best of 9.
Blast did that.
MR7 or MR9.
Didn't Blast do that with the
No, that was the third place, but it was every player with 1 gun, and then it was and the prize money for that was like an extra.
I don't think it should be every gun, but maybe
something.
Like it wouldn't be bad to like an.
No, it was Deagle AKM for op and.
Maybe you do
That
like
was
a
USP maybe.
you just do like an AMAP USP and do like M4s and AKs.
Yeah, we were playing Ice World at 1.5.
It's like hockey shootouts.
yeah. Well, look,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
but
Like add an exciting
they're not
element
going to do
about
that.
No,
Because the reason they
But
won't do
why?
that because people want to do what Valve are doing. I want people to do
But
new
I
shit
don't care,
too.
man.
I want different
Listen,
map
man.
pools.
Listen, man.
We don't get any of
Listen,
that
man.
anymore.
Screw Valve. If they're not gonna extend a hand to like these, if they want to be so much hands off, then let these people do whatever they want.
Well, they
Valve
can
lets
do.
them.
They can.
Yeah,
People
Valve
just
doesn't
choose
give a
not
shit.
to. They don't.
Yeah,
wanna
but that's why I'm saying they chose not to because no one is really thinking. Is there a better way to do?
Yeah.
this?
Well, hopefully people do see those better ways. Let's talk about Dallas. Let's look. Jason's happy now.
Jason's
bit
tired.
No, I'm fine. The format's off for 40 minutes, guys. Like we walked right into it.
Well, it's not just the.
That wasn't even me. I was a
we just had a
passenger.
bottle
here.
of
It was you. You
Jameson.
opened up your notebook
Yeah.
and you flipped it right to the format page.
Well, well,
We have
it's
video as
because
well.
we can't talk about some of the other stuff.
We've
on
got
here.
2 camera angles on that.
But
bad boy.
Dallas was after format. I was
Okay.
getting to Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah, I was getting to.
How many stand-ins we got this event?
Well, where do we start here?
We have 2 stand-in
Uh,
We got
teams.
Forest,
Okay.
2 stand-in teams.
Regali.
So there's
Or
10.
Regali, sorry.
Regali.
Yeah, Liquid's last event with Nitro. We get to see EG with Refresh since Hex has been gone. I
Because
know
they've been killing it. Yeah.
well, exactly. So we get a look on
Hero
that.
invite.
Today I saw Complexity
Complexity is a stand-in.
walking with Sonic.
Yeah,
to
Halzerk isn't
media.
here.
Okay, so no Halzerk. So there's 3 teams. We know that Liquid are going to be looking for a new player after this event.
Forest with Fnatic.
What else I've written down here is no Navi, no Vitality, of course, no Gamer Legion, no Apex, no Monty, no Into the Breach. So
No Virtus Pro.
we're missing.
So a bunch of the top 8 teams
Are we
in the world.
missing
are
everyone
missing.
except Heroic and Liquid from the playoffs?
That's
and
a great question.
and FaZe. So
FaZe is here.
we have 3 out of 8.
Yeah, so we're doing all right. Then I've compiled a list here, gentlemen, of all of the North American players who will be competing. I just wanted to
Go
get
on.
the- So of course we have Twist, Nitro, Elige, OC, NAF, Floppy, Fang, Grim, CJ, Carson, right? Which is he's from the school of Cutler. Has his alias backwards. I asked him today. He said Carson's fine, so he'll be going as young Carson. Breeze, Wiz, Automatic, Cynic, Marky, and B Wills. So that's the 16.
Marky's Mexican.
Okay.
Just so you
is
know.
that South America?
Central
North
America.
I
Central-
just wanted you to know. You said that
I
I'm
did
listing
say
the
North
American
Am-
players.
yeah, okay. Yeah, well, if
I
it's
just-
American, then I guess I could include
No, it's
the
fine.
South American
I just wanted to
players
let
as
you
well.
know.
I have a
Sorry,
content thing we'll do at this event.
Okay.
With the roaming camera, wherever James does it or whoever
Okay,
does
okay.
it. He's gonna
Avi
go
West.
to random people in the crowd or like that are following the CS area
Okay.
and ask them to name the Into the Breach starting lineup.
Okay. How many do you think they're going to get?
2 or 3.
Jason, could you name them all?
I think
Probably not. Thomas, Cypher.
I think
Vault.
one person out of 15 will name all 5
I hope
players.
someone who's coming next weekend listens to our show, and when you see James going around in the crowd, make sure you put up your hand and have the Into the Reach roster ready.
Same-
Can
to
you
go.
name all 5?
Same thing for
Yeah,
Monty.
you were close. You were very close. Cypher, Vault, Thomas, Crucial, and Rallin.
I would have never got Volt.
Exactly.
Coach-
Volt is one no one gets. Like in Monty, will never get Krasnal.
Coached by Juve or it's
Juvie?
in Portuguese. Juvie's juvenile detention.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if he wants to go by that. name.
Juve.
Yeah,
Well,
that's.
listen,
I think
that's
it's
more
Juve
like it.
because J is.
You don't always
Je
get what
in
you want.
Portuguese.
So
You know?
I took some more notes, gentlemen. I have 2 teams. I have 2 teams
So I'll never forget what I did to Trace one Pro League season, man.
with these notes.
He'll never forgive me for this one. No, when Entropic was playing. And
Oh,
then
I remember this
a player's
story.
photo
yeah.
goes up and I was like,
Yeah.
who's this?
Yeah, it's probably lucky. It's probably lucky, wasn't it? Yeah. Poor Trace, man. Oh, well, I hope he's doing all right. Peace to Trace.
Peace, Trace.
So under my spotlight, so these are the 2 teams who are getting an awful lot of focus from me at this event. Teams that I'm expecting to have decent performances considering what they've been up to in recent times. Cloud9 and Astralis. I'm putting them under the spotlight.
Okay. I like that.
And then I have a bunch of teams which are due roster changes. So I've got Greyhound, Complexity, Mouse, bit of OG, Furia,
Yeah.
Liquid's on that list.
Yeah.
They all need to have a roster change.
If we keep
Liquid
zooming in
needs
on
to blow up
Honden
entirely.
again, I'll lose my shit.
Go have a word to production, Yanko.
I will.
Go have a chat.
I'll have a stern talking to.
See what they have to say about it.
I think Liquid's going to blow up. Fury should probably blow up.
I mean,
Well,
like in
Liquid's
a
of it-
negative
Liquid-
way.
Well,
Like in a
we're saying,
negative
you're saying
way?
change roster.
Like I think a bigger overhaul is probably necessary for those teams. in my
So
mind.
what would you do with Liquid? Who would you keep? You can only keep 3 players max.
Naf, Yakinder, OC.
Ripping out the heart of the team.
I concur.
Jason's. You don't have to keep 3. You can keep 2.
Well, I think the OC part depends on where you want to go, but I think OC's done enough. If you're going to go for retooling, start with 2 players. Let's not get too crazy right out of the gate.
Really,
you know?
Yanko? We could get rid of OC. What are you saying?
I mean, if you can get a European opera,
Well, you can build whatever team you want. We can say whatever we want right now.
yeah, but can you? If you
know.
want to go down this conversation with Liquid, can you? Because you want to keep the America spots. You want to have at least 3 Americans.
Do you?
Yeah, because as you mentioned, you get $500,000 as an org going to the major,
Fair enough. It is good money.
and Fluxo qualifier through the
I
Americas.
like
last
OC.
season, so
I
Very
think just
you're
I,
always guaranteed a spot at the major.
I think OC is fine. He can stay, but he needs to command more, not authority, but like take more space.
Take more initiative.
He
Yeah,
started
take
to at
what-
the major. He had a
yeah.
couple games where he was getting into it.
You know, especially with the op, I think he does sometimes more with the rifle than with the op, and you know, I understand it was difficult for him coming into a team with Elige and maybe these big names, Nitro, Naf, like that he
Yakinder's a big
watched.
personality as well.
Yeah, exactly right, and to speak up, he seems like
Yeah.
a bit more of a quiet, shy guy. So, but in game, you have to like
The ops
step
important
up
these days.
and I think you give him that chance, that opportunity, and then he either takes it or off with his head.
I think the biggest thing. We not literally, guys. Figuratively within the team.
Just banter.
Yeah. But I think that if Liquid can find a team with 3 American players, then they should do that. However, if those 3 American players that they can find do not all agree that they will have to spend 75% of their year in Europe, they cannot join my version of Team Liquid.
Well, that's the other thing is if you're Liquid,
You got to change your methodology.
well, you're basically saying, look, because I mean, here's my philosophy behind it. You have Yakinder who's already in Europe. You have Naf who said he wants to move to Europe and play in Europe at some point during his career. Move the team to Europe. You tell OC if he wants to stay on the roster, he's got to come to Europe.
Come to the
Get another
Netherlands.
North American. Say we're gonna put you in Utrecht. We have the facility here. We have the
Bring
apartments
Twist
here,
back. He's in Europe.
Hey, we could.
and you kind of have to do it that way.
Yeah, I think so. I think that has to be the change for Liquid. And I think that if they're not willing to do that, then they will continue to be in the same position, which is fine. They'll always be a team that we talk about, but not one who is going to be consistently a winner. But there's no consistent winners right now anyway, so I don't even know what the point of that sentiment is. So.
And for Furia, you better spearhead the Brazilian shakeup.
Well, it has to be
Pain.
Cacerado and Yuri, and you get rid of everybody else.
Cacerado, Yuri, Big Uzera,
I'll take Zevi and Skulls.
Skulls.
All
Zevi's
both
not
of them.
bad.
Yeah, I think Zevi shot the bed a little bit in some big games, but
He's relatively inexperienced, I think.
exactly. Yeah, same
They
as
all
Skulls.
are. All the operas in Brazil are.
So someone
Thank you,
got to take a
Z2.
risk on someone.
Yeah, you have to and that comes down to what their personalities are like, which we can't really know. I just wish there was a place for Insani on that team.
Well, if you want, Skulls or Insani, I'll hear either argument.
Skulls
I
all
think-
day.
Yeah, but I don't know who between Yurik Serato and then Skulls or Insani who fits better.
True, they
In that
would
story,
know better
right?
than we
Like-
would in that regard.
Like that, so then we just leave it at whoever fits better.
Yeah,
It's a very loose concept we're talking here. Yeah,
and Zeus can coach.
As long as Art is not there.
yeah bring our boy Zeus
Yeah,
back.
get him in. Zeus is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
As long as Art's not there. Or drop.
Well, we didn't have to say their names.
Or-
We excluded them. We didn't need to. OG needs to
It's
completely
not like
start
call
again.
them dumb or anything.
OG needs to completely start again.
Yeah.
OG need to keep nobody, not a single player. Start again.
I mean, if you could pick players to keep,
You keep Flames and Dexter.
No, the Flames is already out. It feels
Well,
like
yeah, that's what I
he's-
mean.
He's had enough.
yeah,
of
but
that
if
whole
you got to pick 2
situation.
players, you would keep them.
Yeah.
But
So
you don't
I
have
just
that
think
chance.
OG's done. So I'm just going to remove OG from any conversation. OG no longer exists. We could build a whole new team and we could take him to OG.
Sure.
But right now, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's like a black hole.
I don't know what's going to happen with Nexa. Maybe he stays in OG if they're willing
He doesn't
to.
want an in-game lead, though.
He
right?
doesn't?
Well, isn't that half the issue? I thought that he didn't want an in-game lead.
I don't know.
I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, that was initially the story of why he was removed from G2. It was like
Yeah.
that he didn't want to do it. Then he goes to OG and does that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, but that team as well, like it
What?
wasn't built for him to succeed either. Like there, he was looking after the daycare. He went from being in G2 to then being in this like madhouse, which look, not ideal situation for anybody, but at the same time, he's had what?
I don't know, man. He's made some weird statements when he gave some weird interviews when he made that change that like it was like really stressful in G2, you know, and it was like more fun playing in OG. Well, it was so much fun you had to bench yourself.
Yeah, okay.
News flash, losing isn't fun.
No.
Who would have thought?
I can guarantee you that.
And being on a championship caliber team comes with pressure. Who would have thought?
That is true.
But I think he's learned his lesson. So hopefully he's learned his lesson in that sense. I have no idea, man, where to place next. To be honest, like
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I mean, like how high on the tier list of like in-game leaders as a player.
But he's out of the meta now.
I thought he was really good as like a passive.
He's been out
anchor,
for like 2-3
a
months
passive
now?
CT
More than
player, like just a good passive player. But I don't know how good he is anymore because he was so inconsistent. Even in G2, he would have a couple of even good games and a couple of bad games.
And you
up
have that
and
in-game
down.
leader curse. You
Yeah.
don't get to go back from being an in-game leader.
That's true. That's true. Nobody tends to have you after that. Hampus could be coming back, you know? We don't know what's happening with him,
I'd like seeing him on a team.
right? Well, I think one of these things that happens is going into a break, and I know we're meant to be talking about Dallas here, but going into the ambiguity of CS2 and then the break, there's a lot more room for these changes to happen. Like, Mals have to make some changes as well, right? The Mals have to be making
Seems like
changes.
they've hit their ceiling.
Right.
I'm really curious to see what they're going to look like at this event. I'm really curious.
I think this is like...
After the major, I was so disappointed at the major.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I feel like I've always been kind of fooled by Maus. But like Maus getting to the playoffs of last major could be comparable to some of these other teams that we've just seen go. Like you're talking about teams down the bottom of the top 10 or like close to the top 15, like the Fnatic, the Bigs. Wouldn't do Maus fall into that type of same conversation?
Yeah.
So in a toe-to-toe against a Gamer Legion or a Monty at the moment, right? Okay, maybe that's where this conversation for those spots gets a bit more heated.
It just sucks we couldn't see Mouse turn the corner because like they hit that spot where like we finally stopped talking about them as like the fucking, you know, the academy team that rose up, right? The academy players had finally got enough experience to where you no longer really talked about them as academy players. And
That's what the major made us believe, right?
Yeah.
The Cologne result and the major result, wasn't it? It was it was those two.
But
I
even like
think.
the eye test was looking good for them for a little bit as well.
Well, when they
Just-
stopped just defaulting.
Yeah,
all the time,
but
it
I
was
think
nice.
I think they failed to turn that corner when a team gets to that point where you know, when you're on that rise from academy players, everything's feeling good and everything's positive because there's no expectations. And then all of a sudden you have to be that team that's now like, okay, now we have to make the leap to being consistently in playoffs, consistent top 8 placings, and you're trying to actually fix and work in the meta and find new tricks. And I think that's where they failed to actually.
Which teams have been good at that, right? Of what you're pointing out. I reckon like Na'Vi, Heroic,
Yeah.
like those names there. Whereas like FaZe have had some big swings and some big misses. Same with G2 in the last calendar year, right? Like ones that are of note.
Liquid's obviously not done a good job with it.
But Liquid's flux is weird. It doesn't seem as they don't fall as far as a G2 or a FaZe, but they don't seem as they could rise as high as
Yeah.
well. So they still like bounce around a lot in that. But I think it's really just Heroic and Na'Vi.
Yeah, that
Right.
have done a good job.
Like,
with
who
it
else is like Vitality? I guess in the last year, you'd
Yeah.
have to say.
this year certainly.
But it's the same thing. Like there's no dominant force right now, which isn't a bad thing. But we're also in this time period where we know that we're changing game at some point soon, and everybody seems to have different levels of expectation of what that means or how vast that could affect the way that people approach the game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things going on. So that's why like talking about this event. That's why for me, looking at all this shit, I don't care what happens with Heroic, FaZe, G2, Ents. Like, what's going to happen here? Do they care? Like, I don't know where everybody's heads are at right now. You're in the weirdest spot.
I think everyone is in a weird headspace for all of these
Right.
teams because they don't know. Like now, you have to start planning the second half of the year for
Yeah.
yourself. Are we going to boot camp or not? How long is our vacation going to be? When do we want to start practicing before Blast? So,
Sure.
and that conversation completely changes
The
if we
moment
start
CS2
with,
comes.
if we start with CS2
Yeah.
or if we
The
start
player
with
break
CS:GO.
completely changes.
Also, even if it's just announced when CS2 is coming, like so if it's let's say in October, then you're like, well, we're gonna just take a longer vacation,
Yeah.
just rock up to Blast, who cares, whatever we do there, you know, and then after that we're gonna focus a bit more maybe on CS2, like post Cologne, like let's try to win Cologne. It's always a cool one to win, to play at, and then after that our focus is shift to CS2, even if Pro League is on CSGO and Riyadh, like, and all this. It really doesn't matter in any competitive sense, but Pro League and whatever comes after that, yeah, we'll just play it, but we'll still keep focus on the other game, like so.
This is the
Which
thing,
would
like,
suck.
and it's a shame that we're in this position right now. But I think
Did they show you anything in Paris chat?
no, And I asked the question. I asked them. I said, "So when in summer did you say it was coming out?" And they were like, "Yeah, sometime in summer."
And then they said Australia's summer is in December.
Yeah, they were fun. Fun with really pushing the buttons there. But
Trolls.
the general sentiment is it'll be out when it's ready.
Yeah.
Which
Which
is
I
good.
respect the hell out of.
Yeah, me too. But so
It's
many
just-
people are impatient about it, which I understand because of the conversation we're having right now. People's, we're treading water.
The only thing I'd say is, if you are having doubts about whether it will be, why say summer in the first place? Why not say by end of year?
Well, I guess
guess
the thing. I don't think
understand
they're having doubts.
That's more vague, right? Like you don't want to do that.
It is unusual for Valve to give timelines. They normally don't
Yeah.
give any timelines.
Yeah, normally they're just like pop. Here it is, like
Yeah.
the Dota 2 update.
But this is the thing, this is
That was a massive
that
update,
was a
too.
crazy update.
Yeah.
3 days before their major.
I thought that was fucking awesome.
I thought they were
hope
going to do it.
to
I
us.
thought they were going to do it for this one. Yeah, for Paris.
Yeah, I hope they do. But
Peace.
that's the thing. This is why I have stronger feelings.
Globe Blast first major.
What that narrative as well. I'm so glad I was against that narrative. Like before it even kicked off with the fanfare, it made it so good for me. Just hearing the constant, and then after hearing people who haven't like watched Counter Strike in years come up and go, "Oh, is that and for Counter Strike?" And I'm like, "Nah, like there's another game coming soon."
No, it's
We just,
wild. Like
went
it's
hard
an,
on
it's
the
an easy
branding.
it's an easy thing to go for.
Yeah, of course.
But the problem is also it's not like it was from 1.6 to CS:GO. The difference, like yes, CS2 it's called Counter Strike 2, and I don't think it's going to be night and day. Like there's small
The idea
gameplay
No, it's
changes
still
and
as
all
similar
of
as
that,
possible.
but
Yeah.
it's very similar. All the grenade mechanics are pretty well
Comparable.
Yeah, I mean, I meant physics of the nades,
Sure.
right? Like trajectories. Sure, the smoke is now voluptuous.
Yeah, they are that as well.
Volumetric.
Volumetric. Yeah.
Volumetric.
Yeah. But then the skybox
Voluptuous
is
works
and,
Yeah, that
and
is
the
a good name for
Molotov,
a
the
smoke.
fire is a different color, and the graphics, right? But I think a team that was good in CS:GO is not going to be terrible
No, I agree.
in
No,
I
CS2,
agree.
right? Like those differences are going to be
No,
small,
yeah.
and I don't think people will look back at CS:GO and then at CS2 and make sure to say, hey, this was CS:GO, and this. And I think they'll just say, I don't know what.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't think
I don't know what we'll say, because we're the ones who will be saying the shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Counter Strike.
That's the safer term.
Full stop.
Just
Full stop.
Exactly, just Counter Strike. That's it. Fucking it saves the day here. But gentlemen, this is the thing, right? Like we're about to do this event. It starts tomorrow. We have all these teams. We have all these new names to look at. We have teams with stand-ins who, aren't playing for a lot. Like it's hard to frame all of this.
I asked this one in the last episode with Duncan. I was just like, how do you even put Dallas into like any kind of context?
Yeah.
Like it's just, again, like this event just gets stand-in central.
It's just Counter Strike.
Yeah.
I
Again.
think it's one of those. It's one of those things where this is where it's really important to how you prepare your team mentally for this tournament and the next tournament, right? Like whoever is at Blast finals,
There's gonna
right?
be a lot
Like,
of senioritis at this event.
was
You
that?
guys have that term, senioritis?
What does that mean?
We did it in like the States. It's like when you're a high school senior and you're going off to college, and like the last like 2 months of school, you just don't give a fuck.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you've already
Okay.
been accepted to
Yeah,
school. Your
okay.
grades
So-
don't really
yeah.
matter, so you're
So-
just coasting.
So it's obvious that things are looming on the horizon. Some teams probably know that they're going to make changes as soon as the player break hits, right? And sure, once the game goes live, you want to win, but how do you try to get not the maximum out of your players? Like that's going to be close to impossible to get under the circumstance. But how do you frame a storyline, a story for your team that they can buy into and just give it that little bit extra, and so you can have a good run and hopefully not embarrass yourself with a couple of bad losses or anything along those lines. And it's probably something along the lines of, hey, like we know like things are on the horizon and whatnot, but let's
have a good end. Let's go out on a high note. With a bang.
let's remember like why we're doing this in the first place.
Sure.
And
Well, that can be the only way, right? Is the competition being the most paramount thing at that point for something like this? It's just the sheer idea of beating somebody at the video game.
Yeah.
That has to be, which is the
beating
driving
someone
factor for why we
beating
do
someone
most
at
things.
anything,
Exactly.
right? Like
Yeah.
just beating someone at anything, and just making sure that you're not playing lazy CS. That you're not like really not caring. Like it doesn't have to be super complex. What
Just
you're
be
doing,
present.
you can dumb it down a little
Just be
bit, right?
present.
Like
Play
do
solid Counter-Strike.
do simple things,
Yeah.
like potentially,
Defaults in
right?
communication.
But just like pops and a bit more faster pace. Who cares, right? But just like do it with energy and with intensity, right? And I think that could be enough for a team to, have a couple of upsets if it's a lower tier, if it's a lower ranked team, or for a good team to make a run for the tournament.
Do we want to look at the opening matchups? Like, I'm even thinking about the
G2
Grand
nouns.
Slam. I'm thinking about the Grand Slam. Vitality aren't even here, right? So another team will get a notch, which means we'll have 2 teams with 1 notch, but you need 4, and one of those 4 has to include a ESL major or a fucking
Some of them are
Katowice
going
or
to
a
be
Cologne.
CS2.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. That's all good. I think the stats is as long as we can pull the same stats. Like I think all the databases, all that kind of shit should just carry over. But like, it's an event where we're in. This happened last year as well. Like I didn't make it, but I know it happened.
I'll
because
tell you all the storylines. It's like, okay, FaZe is here, but they're just won the major. It's a big deal. They lose to Cloud9. Cloud9, it was a catalyst for them finally taking down FaZe.
Ents with a stand-in.
They beat Ents in the stand-in in the grand final, who made it there by beating Furia, who made it there by beating G2 in the quarterfinals.
This is an event where there's not a lot of good storylines going into it. They just develop as the event goes on.
Yeah. Well,
That's where you have to-
hopefully.
yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
In theory.
And hopefully some good Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And when I say good
Cloud9
Counter-Strike,
going to win again?
I don't know. They could.
They're going to have all the fans behind them again?
They're one of the teams under my spotlight, Jason. Them in
That's- I
Australia,
don't know, man.
my
It's a
spotlight.
It's a bright spotlight.
Thank you.
The major, the RMR and then Rio might have just broken that team beyond repair. We'll have to.
They looked happy today.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah, they just
I
won.
saw
They
them.
just won
Actually, I
$300,000
saw
playing from their bedrooms.
I saw them at the airport.
They won some
Like,
online.
there was some flight.
They're on the same flight. Oh, they were. Yeah, they arrived today.
Yeah, they also came in from Belgrade.
How many Europeans are going to complain about jet lag at this event?
Hopefully all of them.
Oh,
It is unfair that they arrive today and have to play tomorrow.
Shut the fuck.
We don't do that.
Why'd they
anymore,
arrive
Jason.
today then?
Because they're all in Belgrade and they
Had the same problem as you.
They
Okay,
had the
well,
same flight
that
as me.
wasn't intended. It wasn't.
Yeah,
It was just the
it's an
outcome.
unfortunate circumstance.
Just the scenario that we find ourselves in. All right, gentlemen, we've been going for almost 2 hours now. Yanko's struggling to keep his eyes open, and he gets a good excuse because at home it's 5 a.m. right now.
Because he's jet lagged.
It's 5 a.m. right now. So you've made it, Yanko.
I made
You've
it.
done it. It's time for bed.
Yeah, you can sleep.
Well done,
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm gonna have to try and upload this, and hope it all worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's pray there's no desyncs this time around.
Yeah, well, it can't because I don't have to sync the audio and the video. In theory, I should just upload one file.
Who's winning the event?
Nouns.
That's the worst form of protest.
G2.
Can't do that again, can you?
Expected. Yeah,
You
he's
can't do,
gone
you
for
can't do
one more
that again, can you?
You're too.
I just say fucking Cloud9.
Sure.
Back to back.
Okay.
Yeah, the Americans on home soil, baby.
Who do you think, Jason?
I didn't really have an answer prepared. I guess I'm going to go with Cloud9 as well. I'd like to see Ents win it. That'd be cool.
Okay, say Ents then.
Yeah, Ents.
Because they made money.
Yeah, they made money.
Shout out to Natu.
Here's to
Sitting in his
making more
Finnish
money.
mansion.
In his hot tub. He fucking loves that hot
Finnish
tub.
hot tub
His little
mansion.
sauna.
He fucking loves that hot tub. doesn't he,
Wood-fired
Natu?
sauna.
All right. We're going to do more episodes this week.
And there will be beers next time.
Couple more planned.
Yeah, so we're going to do one on
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, we just need to work out what the media schedules and everything like that is looking like. I'm hoping limited on media. I would like to go to...
We're hoping for a guest.
I want to go to Six Flags. I didn't go to Disneyland. Yeah, we're going to try and get a guest. And then we might even do... It depends
other
on
one.
what the weekend's looking like. Yeah, well, we're gonna put something in our pocket. There'll
Yeah.
be something we'll record for later, which will get released
For
at a
a
later
future
date.
date.
Yep. So that'll be fun when we do that one. And then I don't know. It depends on what the weekend's looking like. But if we have someone else who wants to join us, we've got 4 of the good mics now. So I think the audio quality,
Upgraded the mics.
like the audio quality in general for this episode, just listening, there hasn't been as crazy high peaks. We all have these fucking pop filters on. I think everything's been good from there. If the video and the audio sync properly, we've even changed scene. I think double digits.
Camera swaps are huge.
I couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah.
I think all I need next time is a keyboard so I can just do it with one hand and I don't have to think about it too much.
I can order one of the USB things on Amazon.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
And then...
Order one more of these.
Oh, stands?
Stands?
Yeah. Mine's quite nice. Look at my stand. Mine's...
Give me
Order,
a
this,
official
order me this one.
Sure.
Look at,
Yeah.
look at this one. Look at this stand here, you know?
It looks like an alien.
Well, it is.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
So,
on that note,
we're out of here.
GG.
Bye-bye.
See ya.